All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's live commentary stream for the South Point Casino 400 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the beginning race of the round of 8 of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2023. Just 4 Sundays of NASCAR left this season, and then a champion will be crowned here over the next month's time. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get ready for today's flag-to-flag coverage. Engines are already fired. We're already through the pre-race ceremonies, and the cars are on the racetrack right now for the parade laps for today's race around this 1.5 mile track out in the desert. It is going to be hot. It is going to be slick. 88 degrees is the air temperature, not a cloud in the sky, and I'm sure that these teams are going to be dealing with some very loose conditions with the race cars in the early going of today's race. As far as the race goes, here's the starting lineup as you see on the screen already. Christopher Bell going to be on the pole to begin this round of 8 playoff race. Kyle Larson to the outside of the front row, finished second in the spring race at Vegas this season. William Byron, the spring Vegas winner, will start on the inside of row 2, and Martin Truex Jr., the regular season champion, to his outside. Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch will be in row number 3. Busch eliminated last round of the playoffs, but Buescher is not, still trying to fight for a championship 4 spot. Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick will line up in row 4, both the 2311 Toyotas. Very strong at Vegas in the spring. We'll see if they can have a solid run here again today. Joey Logano and Ross Chastain will line up in row number 5, both eliminated from the playoffs this season. Logano in the round of 16, Chastain in the round of 12. Rookie Ty Gibbs, still trying to go for his first career win, will be on the inside of row 6, and Ryan Blaney, Talladega winner 2 weeks ago, to the outside of row 6. Eric Almirola and Alex Bowman will line up in row 7. Row number 8 will be Denny Hamlin and Austin Dillon. Hamlin, the furthest back qualifying driver of those that are in the last 8 spots for the playoffs. Chase Briscoe and Michael McDowell will be behind them in row number 9 in this one, and then row 10 will be Austin Cindric and Justin Haley. Brad Keselowski, AJ Allmendinger will be in row number 11. Allmendinger won on the Roval last week, was the first non-playoff driver to get a win this season. Eric Jones and Kevin Harvick will be in row number 12. Harvick, of course, at his final start at Las Vegas. Carson Hocevar back in the 42 car again this week after taking a week off in the Cup Series a week ago. Having good runs with Legacy Motor Club this year. We'll see if he can keep that up. He'll be on the inside of row 13 with J.J. Yaley back in the 51 at Rick Ware Racing to his outside. Ty Dillon and Corey LaJoie, Spire Motorsports Chevys, will be in row 14. Ty Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in row 15. BJ McLeod, Ryan Preece in row 16. Row 17 is going to be Harrison Burton and Brendan Poole in the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing this week. Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez rounding out the field in row 18. Elliott wrecked in practice yesterday, starting at the back. Same goes for Daniel Suarez, also in a backup car to start the race today. And as well, Chase Elliott in that 9 team. I know a lot of you guys are fans of Chase Elliott. He is the most popular driver in NASCAR after all. He is still fighting for the Owners' Championship with the 9 team, as it was the 19 team of Martin Truex Jr., who is only going for the Drivers' Championship now, did not make it out of the Roval for the 19 car for the Owners' standings. Still a little over a lap away from the drop of the green flag for today's race, so we'll take it to the NBC booth. You can watch the race on your local NBC affiliate for today. And here is their commentary leading up to the start of the race.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's got some work to do. I think you have to get stage points in this first stage, so he'll be trying to drive his way into that top 10. Some other drivers, though, all these guys, obviously non-playoff drivers trying to win. Cindric Haley back there in row 10. The rest of the field here, Keselowski still trying to finish this year off. So close to wins throughout many of the races. Love to get a win here in Vegas again.
So we go back here onto the last page. You look at Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, both having right rear tire issues in practice on Saturday. And so those two drivers have to go to backup cars. They're at the back of the field. But Chase Elliott was very strong before the right rear tire went out. So it's going to be fun watching him come from the back to the front. Toyota Camry TRD is the official pace car for today's Cup Series playoff race. Out there in front of the field as the field now working their way down pit road, making sure that they've got speed set for pit road. That's one of the other things, Steve, we've talked about a lot. You can't make mistakes. And it was brought up earlier in the pre-race show. You make a mistake, it could lose you a championship. But give us a race analysis.
Well, 400 miles, 267 laps, 80 laps stage 1, 85 laps stage 2, over 100 laps that final stage. You could run 65, 67. Some teams might even be able to stretch the fuel to 70, so definitely a pit stop in each segment. It's good to be back, Rick.
Welcome back. Good to hear your voice again. And good to hear the sounds of the cars as they're going side by side once again, getting ready for the race. We talk about non-playoff drivers possibly spoiling the show. Kim, what about the one of Ross Chastain?
Yeah, Ross no longer in that playoff picture, but he absolutely wants to play spoiler. He has earned more points on mile-and-a-half tracks in the next-gen car than any other driver, and in 2 of the last 3 Vegas races, he's finished in top 3. The team assured me this morning that despite their title run being done, the prep is the same every week. Everyone is still working as hard as possible, and while they're a little bit bummed that they're no longer in the playoff picture, the mood at the shop, Dave, has been absolutely fantastic.
Denny Hamlin will start 15th. You guys already talked about him. Crew chief Chris Gabehart told me not to be concerned because they are not. What happened in practice yesterday, cool temperatures in the morning, high speeds, high fast speeds that you won't do all day during the race. That is not his wheelhouse. That's not our wheelhouse, and we're not concerned about where we're starting. We do need to get to the front. We feel like this hot, sunny day, slick on the track, will help get us there, Marty.
Dave, William Byron has 6 wins this year, including here in March. And I asked him, hey, how much momentum does that give you guys coming in to the first race in the round of 8? He said, I'm not sure it gives us anything. The racetrack was so different in March than it will be today. Highs in Vegas expected to be around 85 degrees. He told me the track will be very slick. It's going to be interesting to see how the racetrack develops. And if William Byron and Rudy Fugle can carry over what they had here in the spring, Rick, and sweep the year at Vegas and earn a spot in the championship 4.
Remember, it was a moderately cool race at Vegas earlier this year, very uncanny for that area of the country, even in the wintertime, as it was, I believe, right around 50 degrees for a high, obviously about 35 plus degrees warmer today. Track temp will be even more warmer. No overcast skies for this race. Sun is out. It will be out and stay out for the entirety of this race. We had a pretty good run yesterday in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race where we saw Riley Herbst get his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series win. And we will see if that string of non-playoff drivers winning races in the top 3 ranks of NASCAR will continue. You had Moffitt, of course, at Talladega 2 weeks ago winning. Last weekend, A.J. Allmendinger in the Cup Series winning a race. And obviously this weekend with Herbst getting a win in the Xfinity Series. So as for today's race, we've already gone through the starting lineup. Lastly, we'll go through the point standings and what that will look like coming into the race. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on these 8 drivers when it comes to stage points at the end of both Stage 1 and Stage 2, and as well, of course, the race finish. As far as William Byron goes, he is 20 points above the cutoff line as the number 1 seed to begin round 8. Martin Truex Jr. as of right now is plus 15 points, Denny Hamlin plus 11, and Kyle Larson is the first driver above the cutoff line at plus 3. Minus 3 for Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell minus 8 for Reddick, and minus 10 points for Ryan Blaney. Green flag is in the air. We are underway in the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas. Christopher Bell leading the field into turn 1 will quickly pull down to the inside lane and clear Kyle Larson as he holds the bottom lane. Larson to get a little tight in that dirty air as he moves now up towards the outside a bit quicker than Christopher Bell in front of him. Larson holding clear of those couple of cars right behind him in line. Trying to move up into the middle groove, but not all the way up to the outside. Very few cars are going to actually attempt to do that here, at least in these opening laps. Larson giving up that little bit of room on the bottom will allow for his teammate William Byron to get underneath them. They'll be side by side for second into turns 1 and 2. Larson going to try to hold his teammate down on that white line. He'll get a little bit more momentum off the high side, off the exit of turn 2, and he'll be able to clear William Byron, close to clearing him at least into turn 3. That last little bit of a side draft by Byron on the left rear corner panel of Larson allowed for Larson to not clear Willie B. Now he is definitely clear off of turn 4. A couple cars nearly getting up into the outside wall, down towards the back of the field. Bell leads the first 2 laps of the race, but on lap 3, Larson to the inside for the race lead through turns 1 and 2 will slide clear of Bell off the exit of the corner, so Larson will take an early lead at Las Vegas. Bell going to try to get back underneath him, but not enough speed out of that 20 car. Larson's able to drive it in deep. He still gets off the corner very well, and definitely looks to have the best handling car in the early going as he takes the race lead on lap 3. So we have our first lead change already. Side by side for position in the back half of the top 10, it looked like off of turn 4 between Alex Bowman and Joey Logano. Bowman's only win with the next-gen car. He came in the spring race at Las Vegas in 2022. Starting in the top 10 today, Hendrick Motorsports was top in lap averages in practice, both laps 5, 10, and 15 lap averages. Larson had the fastest 5 and 10 lap average. Byron right there in second behind him. And Chase Elliott actually had the fastest 15 lap average until he ended up, of course, having that right rear go down in the middle of the corner, which caused him to wreck. He is in a backup car starting at the tail end of the field today. We'll see if that backup car will be just as quick as the primary car as well. Not only with Hendrick Motorsports, I mentioned Bowman had a win in the spring race of 2020. Hendrick Motorsports has actually won two of the three, next-gen races at this racetrack. Both of them were spring races with Bowman last year, Byron this year. We'll see if in the fall race they can have a good run at it. Kyle Larson had a fast car early last year. Of course, him and Bubba Wallace got in that incident in the early laps of that race. And William Byron actually had a pretty good run as well in that one, finishing in the top 5. We'll see if he can do that again today. Right now, Byron losing a little bit of touch of those 3 cars in front of him of Larson, Bell, and Truex, and he's under duress from Chris Buescher, who sneaks to the inside and will take away the 4th place position, barely clearing Byron off the exit of the corner. Not giving him a lot of room there, but Byron was able to stay in the gas. He didn't have to lift any extra, wasn't put in an uncompromised position, and will continue on. Byron going right back down to that white line. Chris Buescher will stay wide in the middle lane through turns 1 and 2 as he continues to try to pull away for the 24, who has dropped back a couple of spots off the start of the race now to position number 5 on lap 7. It looks like our raw feed is a little bit behind right now. I don't really know that I can do much. Looks like obviously that is probably on just the NASCAR website right now, so if you're wondering why the leaderboard is frozen, I usually get the raw feed leaderboard off of NASCAR's website, so if it is slow, we're unfortunately going to have to deal with it until it is fixed. Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain battling for 9th on the track side by side. Blaney started just outside the top 10. If he passes Chastain, he'll move up 3 spots from the start of the race, although in the process of running side by side, Alex Bowman goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Will take Blaney and Chastain 3 wide. Not a lot of room for Ryan Blaney in the middle of those 2 cars. And there's still 3 wide on the backstretch. And boy, Chastain was all over the right side door of Blaney's car on the backstretch, trying to side draft him as much as possible. Going into the corner, looks like they're going to merge off the exit of turn 4 with the 1 staying in front of both the 12 and the 48. The 12 holds on in line behind Chastain in front of Bowman in 10th. Bowman obviously in 11th, right behind Blaney still. That was a very tight 3-wide battle for nearly a half a lap there. Chastain losing touch of the car in front of him with Bubba Wallace. Blaney continues to put a lot of pressure, though, on Chastain. And Ross is not going to give this spot up very easy. We know him to race very hard from start to finish in these races. He was very fast in the spring race earlier this season. In fact, led the most laps in the spring race earlier this year. Shown a replay off turn 4 a couple laps ago. Brad Keselowski scraped the outside wall after running side by side with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there towards the back of the pack. Just a light scrape, and then he ended up bouncing off the wall, made contact with Stenhouse's car, but continues on. No major damage on the 6. Blaney will finally get by Chastain for 9th place through 3 and 4. If you can't clear off the exit of the corner and you are on the inside lane, it is very difficult to be able to create enough momentum to make that pass in the next said corner. You really have to try to get that done at once, and if not, it definitely puts you a couple laps behind by the time you get your momentum back up if you fail to make a pass to be able to make another one once again. Larson stretched his race lead out to 0.7 of a second over Christopher Bell in P2 right now. Martin Truex Jr. still sits in 3rd at 1.6 seconds off the lead. Chris Buescher is in 4th place, 2.9 seconds back, and William Byron 3.5 seconds off the lead in 5th. Interesting note for Martin Truex Jr. He has failed to finish inside the top 15 in the first 6 playoff races this season. So looking for a really solid run, obviously winning the regular season championship at a few races as well in the regular season. Gave him a lot of playoff points, quite a few stage wins also. And that is why he has been able to barely limp his way through the first 2 rounds. Can't afford to do that with only 4 more spots left on the line to make it into the championship race at Phoenix as we get this late this season. So he's going to have to turn it on to his regular season form if he is going to make it out of this 3rd round. And so far, so good, at least in the early laps of today's race, showing some pretty good speed. Definitely pulling away from the cars behind him, but not quite reeling in the only 2 cars in front of him. Larson continues to lead lap 14 as they go to a full screen commercial break. We'll take our first break of the race ourselves here. You're listening live on KRC to the South Point Casino 400. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today on late notice. Thankful for all you guys still tuning in. It's supposed to be at Las Vegas this weekend. Unfortunately, had some flight issues last night. The flight ended up getting it got delayed a couple times during the afternoon yesterday, and I still ended up going to the airport afterwards. And then after about an hour after being there, the flight ended up being canceled. So there is obviously no race highlight videos from the grandstands for today, hence the live commentary stream. So hopefully you enjoyed today's stream, and sorry to anybody that ends up missing this. Knowing that I was supposed to be gone this weekend. Hopefully they end up finding out that, hey, he's not gone. He's still got the commentary this weekend and they return. But appreciate all you guys that are here nonetheless. Belinda Leverett, Harry T., Wade Zielinski, Dark Crypto, Willie Bowen, Patrick Shadley, Terry Lewis, Chris Davis. Getting all the shout-outs for everybody I see in the chat right now. Matthew Dorter, Bruno, Hopeful, thanks for tuning in. Ronald Gutierrez, thanks for tuning in. Joanne C., of course, welcome to the stream. NASCAR Vintage 17, also welcome. Up to 32 likes on the stream already. Our goal will still be 150 likes for today's race. We'll see if we can continue that streak. And also, 48 votes have been casted so far in the chat poll for who you think will win today's race. And those votes are between Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chris Buescher, or you could pick other. Pretty tight poll right now between Kyle Larson or other, of course, Larson leading the early laps in today's race. I ended up picking William Byron to win the race today. It was a toss-up coin flip between picking Larson or Byron. The reason why I went with the 24 team is Larson seems to have the same speed as Byron, tends to lead more laps than Byron, but at the end of the day, it's that 24 team that seems to execute the best, whether it's Byron just not making a mistake on the racetrack, keeping his car clean, and he's the one there at the end. Larson maybe pushes it too hard, gets into an incident, or the 24 team's pit crew is just that much better than everybody else in the field, even his teammates at Hendrick Motorsports. So that's why I ended up taking William Byron to win the race today, but not showing the same speed as Larson, at least in the early laps, as he fell to fifth quickly, and Larson goes from third to first there off the start. Kathy Smith, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. And yeah, we will take our first ad break of the day, and we'll get back to the action here shortly. Again, you're listening live to the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas.
Where the racers stay in Las Vegas. Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. Beautiful skyline of Las Vegas and Las Vegas Motor Speedway, located about 8 miles just to the north of the Strip. And Kyle Larson still has a little over a half a second lead over Christopher Bell. Then it's Mark Truex Jr., Chris Buescher, and William Byron, the top 5, all playoff drivers, all with an opportunity to gain as many points as they can at the end of stage 1, but also that win in advance is so important.
See Denny Hamlin in the 11 creeping up in the 12th position. Chastain on the walls right in front, 11th and 10th. And as we get 22 laps into this run, it's worth reminding everybody as we ride on board the Coke Zero Sugar came on top of the roof of Hamlin's car. Remember, 2 cars started in the back, right? The 9 of Chase Elliott, the 99 of Suarez, and that was because of accidents in practice after having right rear tires go down, go flat. And this is due to the crew chiefs, the teams, trying to get all the out of the race car, which is the goal. You see it. Right rear goes down, flat into the wall, a heavy impact. What they're doing is, it's all aerodynamically driven, if you can believe this. You want to get the back of the car to the diffuser as low as possible. And mechanically, you're kind of out of ideas. You can't just travel it more. So you actually just take air out of the right rear tire. It squishes more like a beach ball. There's lost some air. It gets squished a little bit more. The back goes down. The problem is if you go too low in air, you can damage that right rear tire. Bring that up because it normally doesn't happen right away. It happens longer into the run. 23 laps in currently. We'll see if the garage here took note of those issues in practice. Riding on board with Greg, Toyota Camry, as out front of him, Ryan Blaney just passed him for 7th place, driving through the field. The battle for the lead is heating up, though, between Christopher Bell and the 20 car. Kyle Larson out front in the 5. Let's see which line they run. Christopher Bell's raining down. Christopher's going to go to the higher line. I've seen many people make a lot of time in 3 and 4 using the high line, but it may be coming in, like you said, Jeff, lap 23. This is right around the time where we may see people moving up off the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4 for time. Down in 1 and 2, it's about trying to get through the bumps. Where do you want to go to try to get that car where you have as much lateral grip as it's bouncing through that part of the racetrack?
Christopher Bell, his car looks really good. You can see he's just trying to be on the inside of that 5 car, just searching in clean air. 5 car Larson, you see it wiggling around. The back of the car is loose. He does not have the rear grip that he's wanting at the moment.
They had a close call. Steve, you showed us what happened with Chase Elliott and the right rear tire going down. It was a lap before in practice where Kyle Larson said, I feel some vibration. I'm going to bring it to you. He came onto pit road. Sure enough, there was a blister on his right rear tire as well.
Yeah, very lucky he felt that. And normally they don't get warning until it just completely goes away. Truex is closing in on this duo as well. We see him right there in the screen, running 3rd. As Christopher Bell's sort of been challenged by the arrow on the 5 car. The 5's kind of trying to take his line away, put him in dirty air whenever he can. That's allowed this 19 to close in.
William Byron and the 8 of Las Vegas native Kyle Busch has Morgan and Morgan on board camera that we get to take a great look from. That's track level right on the front bumper.
And right there with him, right behind this 8 car, is Blaney lurking, trying to pass these cars. He has drove through this field. I'm really impressed. We haven't seen the speed we've wanted to out of this 12 car in the playoffs, but here today, closing in on an opportunity to get into the top 5 in stage 1, start at 12th.
In practice yesterday, Blaney said something that I thought was very interesting, and I think a positive for this team. The concern for Blaney all year long, a mile and a half, great battle continuing for the lead, is that this 12 car gets looser and looser as the runs go. Does not have rear grip. Yesterday in practice, he said it was the opposite. He actually got tighter, meaning that the front end did not turn as well. I think that's a major positive for this team, just for Bell making a move.
Here he goes for the lead. Bell to the inside of Larson. And Christopher Bell dives to the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll complete the pass with that momentum that Larson has on the high side. We'll see if it works on the front stretch for him.
I think we also see how good this 20 car is now with clean air. He's been sort of challenged being behind the 5, and he reclaimed the lead, having sat on the pole.
As Coach Joe Gibbs watches on, Christopher Bell back to the lead after starting on the pole today. You know, they really felt like the strength of his car, even though they qualified on the pole, was actually the longer runs. That's coming to fruition right now as Larson might lose another spot to Martin Truex Jr. back there. But Bell showing that long run speed, and Steve, pit stops coming up very quickly. You guys talked about the tire issues yesterday, so teams want to be on the short end of that. So you'll see pit stops coming up in about 8 or 9 laps.
And 2 parts of that. If you're struggling, you can come early, but maybe even 4 or 5 laps away. Come to lap 35. If you're good, you want to get all the way to halfway of this run, which is lap 40. Now the issue, leaving pit road under green at full speed, no pace laps, the heat time is up. You might have to make adjustments to the tire pressure.
Christopher Bell currently a race leader with Martin Truex Jr. second, Kyle Larson third, Chris Buescher in fourth, and rounding out the top 5 is now Kyle Busch in the 5th place position. Truex just passed Larson for second there right before they went to commercial break, and the same goes for Busch getting around William Byron. Byron falling to P6 right now. So Bell back in the lead for the second time today. Led the first 2 laps before Larson got out in front. Then just prior to lap 30, Bell back in the lead again with his teammate Martin Truex Jr. behind him in second. It has either been the Hendrick Motorsport Chevys of Larson and Byron or the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, any one of them really, winning a mile and a half tracks this season. And not even just Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, just Toyotas in general, starting to lead and win on these intermediate tracks, specifically mile and a half racetracks this season. You look back to Kansas, you had Denny Hamlin winning, you had Tyler Reddick winning. Even earlier in the season, Bubba Wallace, when he had that string of top 5 runs, they were all on intermediate tracks. Coke 600, he had a top 5, had a top 5 in the Spring Vegas race. So Toyotas have been really good all season. Martin Truex Jr. has won the majority of the intermediate tracks on these has won the majority of the intermediate tracks when it comes to Toyota drivers, and as a result of that, obviously is up in second place right now. His teammate Christopher Bell is out in front. Alex Bowman kind of coming through the field here out of nowhere. We might be going through green flag pit stops right now. That is exactly the case. Larson is on pit road. Same with Kyle Busch.
26 laps, was able to hang on to second spot there when he came to pit road. And Kyle Busch having a terrific run, ran his way up into the top 5, but you saw that track bar adjustment. This car also too loose for Kyle Busch, and we'll expect a lot of pit stops coming up pretty quick, Steve. Dave?
Ryan Blaney coming down pit road now, Marty. His car was building free just a little earlier than they wanted it to. So they've been making their pressure adjustment here for Goodyear Tires and Fuel, Kim.
For Chris Buescher, he said, overall, I'm on the free side, but he did note that the ride quality very good on that Ford Mustang Park Tires Sunoco fuel for Chris Buescher under green.
So a lot of green flag pit stops going on right now. Just prior to the halfway point here in stage 1, Larson pitted early and pretty much everybody else coming to pit road to follow. Him pitting as soon as he did might cycle him back out in front of the 2 Toyotas that passed him prior to that commercial break right around lap 29. Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. still on the track right now. Truex went to the outside that last time, so we definitely know he's not pitting. And then also Bell stayed out of the pits again this time by to lead another lap. So the longer they stay out, the more of a chance that Kyle Larson is going to be able to take over the top spot of the racetrack. But then the longer they stay out, they're going to have even fresher tires to try to run Larson back down. Chase Elliott now in pit road and Ross Chastain too fast entering pit road.
Chase Elliott said the balance is okay. Could be a little freer in the right rear, but that was about it. Starting from the rear of the field, he's been making his way forward.
So Elliott was able to get right around the 20th place position prior to the green flag pit stops. Chastain, as mentioned right before, that pit stop from Chase Elliott had a pit road speeding penalty for too fast entering pit road. So that commitment line really is where he ended up speeding at. As a result, pass-through penalty for him. This will more than likely drop him off the lead lap as he was running right around the 10th place position prior. Chastain now on his way to pit road to serve his penalty. Again, it is a pass-through. Alex Bowman now making his way to pit road from the top 10, as well as Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
That 1, 2, 3 finish here for Hendrick Motorsports in the March race. So he'll get 4 Goodyear tires. His car was tight in the center of the corner and shocking tight on exit, Marty.
When I talked to Adam Stevens this morning as Christopher Bell completes another lap on the racetrack leading, he told me this might be in their playbook, and really the reason, Steve, is because the other teams had tire issues. The Toyotas at Joe Gibbs Racing did not. He said if we can run a little bit longer in the stage, that'll help us, but Bell's going to come pit this time.
And the problem is...
So there you heard it, Christopher Bell coming into the pits, and that will stay true. His teammate Martin Truex Jr. will come into pit road behind him. They were the last of the cars that were still out on the racetrack. Outside of Ty Gillen and J.J. Yaley, who may be coming into the pits behind them as well. But Bell and Truex are on pit road.
It's going to complete their pit stop. When they leave pit road, they will be blending against the 5, and that will be for the lead of the race, Dave. Steve saw a little bit of speed on the Martin Truex car moving up in the top 3. So he said his car is going the same as yesterday, sliding around a little bit off of turn 2, Marty.
Dave, Christopher Bell described his car as edgy free. Just need a little bit more rear grip so we can wrap the corner better. Those 4 fresh Goodyear tires will certainly help. But this is going to be fun. You see top right of your screen. Here comes Larson. Let's watch the blend.
Oh, there. I wish
close.
Yeah, I wish we could get them both in the same camera shot. Maybe on the back stretch. Now the 5 of Lars is stuck in traffic, but you see it. We'll wait and politely wait. And here's Bell, and here's the 19. So just think about this for later in the race. I understand why they did it. Dead in the middle. I like the strategy. I don't hate it, even losing the lead. I think they are racing for a championship. This mess the 5 is in right now is going to be a real issue, and it's going to allow the 20 and the 19 on fresh tires to close right back in. But think about that. That was 6 laps different. In the final stage of the race, you could not afford to run 6 laps longer and lose the lead. You may never get it back.
So now Larson, after everything cycles out, we'll see the difference. But when we look at it, it's 5.5 seconds that is the difference between Larson and Bell as they are on the track. But as you mentioned, a lot of congestion in front of race leader Kyle Larson.
Yeah, look who it is, Chase Elliott. You know, he is right there. Kyle Larson tried to lap Chase Elliott. Chase had good speed yesterday. This is a backup car. They were very confident in the backup car, but right now that speed is just not there.
Green flag pit stops are complete. Kyle Larson back out front in Vegas.
As Larson continues to lead this race right now. Again, just wanted to mention that the leaderboard on NASCAR's website, the raw feed that I used to put up on screen during the course of the race, that shows not only the live leaderboard, but all the race statistics and lap by lap analysis as each lap is complete throughout the course of the race, is not currently working. So that is why there hasn't really been a leaderboard up there. It was actually frozen on the parade lap still as the race was getting started. So not really anything I can do other than constantly refresh my screen, log out of NASCAR.com, log back in, and hope it ends up working. But we have not been able to have that happen yet. This happens a handful of times. It happened a handful of times throughout the Cup races last year. It's done that a handful of times this season. Not as much as what it did last year, I've noticed. But it seems like it's been happening more frequently as the playoffs have gotten started, not so much during the regular season. So hopefully they just get that issue fixed and we don't have any issues from start of the race at all. But usually it is up and running at least by the midway point. So it will be up eventually. It's just a matter of when rather than if. While they're on a full screen commercial break, then right now I will lead us into another ad break, and then you'll get to listen to more of the actual race coverage when NBC comes back from their commercial as well. Again, you're listening live to the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas. So Kyle Larson leads following the green flag pit stops by short pitting versus Truex and Bell. Very heavy lap traffic for the 5 that he has been dealing with, as has to be allowing Truex and Bell to really close that gap. Now side-by-side lap traffic in front of the 5, but he is definitely not going anywhere right now. And Bell has trimmed that lead down to 2.5 seconds. It continues to close, and Bell now has about a 1.5 gap over Truex. Ryan Blaney up to 4th, getting both ahead of Byron and Busch on pit road as well. So Blaney up to P4.
Championship battle. He's going to go 3 wide. There's a championship battle, but all these other guys, they're trying to salvage a year. Look who's in the picture. Stenhouse obviously won a Daytona 500, but most everyone else in this picture is just, they haven't had great years, and they are fighting for their lives.
The good news for Larson, as frustrating as this is, if he can make it through this mess clean, and Christopher Bell back there, who's feeling good about his car in clean air, all right, you're up next. Good luck getting through there. You see the difference, right? I mean, the last lap, Christopher Bell was 4.5 miles an hour faster than the leader, and that is a touch of fresh tire, but mostly traffic.
Yeah, Christopher Bell now has caught up to this traffic, and he's trying to find the right line, negotiate around it as he goes by the 7.
And right off top of the racetrack right there. And with the better tires, I would expect this car to navigate through this a little bit better than Larson did.
Yeah, because he did it on lap 39, and all these guys that he's racing did it on lap 33, 32, 34. So better tires than all of those guys.
One thing that I noticed, Christopher Bell drove away from Martin Truex Jr., put a little bit of distance between him and the 19 car in third.
And they came to pit road at the exact same time. So Bell also getting by Chase Elliott. So now it's Larson, Bell, Truex Jr., Blaney, Byron at the top 5. Still, it's 5 playoff drivers that are up there. Then Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin has made his way up to 8th, and Buescher is running 9th, Reddick back there in 11th. Marty.
Let's recap the stop for William Byron. Said the car was too free on the first run, still too free here on the second run. After a fairly healthy adjustment from Rudy Fugle, his crew chief on the last stop. They also told him, try the lower line of the racetrack. Your teammate Alex Bowman right behind you is the fastest car on the track, and William has responded by doing that. He's moved to the lower line of the racetrack, just like his teammate did.
Nice tight pit stop for the 11th from Denny Hamlin. His car was a little bit loose, so they made their pressure adjustment to the Goodyear tires before they put them on the car. But he cycled back ahead of where he was running. Car's very good right now for Denny.
Danny, we know more security is a premium here today. In that first run, Tyler Reddick did not have it. He said the higher I run, the looser I feel. In fact, a number and a half too loose the higher
between the pit cycle, the traffic offset between Larson and Bell, Hamlin's recovery. I mean, there's been a lot of storylines already. We haven't even really stacked the field up again for another reset.
And we need to remind fans, you touched on it earlier, points at the end of stage one. We know that 3 drivers in the playoffs could win their way in, but there's a guarantee that at least one is going to make it in on points.
3 races, 4 seats. Anybody who's trying to do that for dinner reservation never seems to work. So that's what's going to happen right here. 10 points for the guy who wins stage 1, 1 point for 10th. Now, if the playoff drivers are still stacked in, as great as those points seem, there's not a lot of movement. Everybody kind of scored them. But if you do make a mistake, or if you are Tyler Reddick currently 11th, and get 0 points, that's a big change versus, say, Larson, who could potentially win. That's why this update about Hamlin that we were just given in his recovery up inside the top 10 is so valuable, because what's on the line in only 27 laps from now. The opposite side, Chris Buescher, right, he's back at 9th. Well, he had a 15-second pit stop, right? So he lost 5 spots in that green flag cycle. So what was a great start to the weekend for a driver that has never had a top 5 in a mile and a half. You heard Dale Jarrett say at the pre-race, he's had some top 10s, never had a top 5. They have the car. They don't quite have the execution today.
Just can't make mistakes.
Still very early in the race, obviously. Cutting to another commercial break, it sounds like, on NBC. Quite a few of them in the early going. Currently, Kyle Larson is still out in front of the field. Christopher Bell, again, is in second. Martin Truex Jr. third. Ryan Blaney fourth. And William Byron currently rounding out the top 5. We'll take a look at some of the rest of the leaderboard here. I'll actually pull it up on my phone so I can go through the full field running order rundown for the first time today. Because I know it works on my phone, I just won't be able to display that on the screen for right now. So let's get through this. So Kyle Larson, again, currently your race leader at lap 56. Christopher Bell is in second, 2.7 seconds off the lead. Martin Truex Jr. is third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Again, William Byron fifth. Behind Byron has Alex Bowman in sixth. Denny Hamlin seventh. Kyle Busch eighth. Chris Buescher ninth. Eric Almirola in 10th. Tyler Reddick has faded to 11th place. Kevin Harvick in 12th. Joey Logano 13th. Brad Keselowski 14th. Eric Jones 15th. Bubba Wallace 16th. 17th is Ty Gibbs. Michael McDowell 18th. Carson Hocevar 19th. Justin Haley in 20th. AJ Allmendinger 21st. Daniel Suarez 22nd. Austin Dillon 23rd. Chase Briscoe 24th. Ty Dillon 25th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 26th. Harrison Burton 27th. Ryan Preece 28th. Ross Chastain 29th. Chase Elliott is a lap down in 30th. Corey LaJoie in 31st. 32nd for Austin Cindric. Ty Gillen 33rd. J.J. Haley 34th. Brendan Poole 35th. And B.J. McLeod 36th. All 36 cars still on the racetrack in the early going here. And again, Kyle Larson is your race leader, 2.5 seconds ahead of Bell. It was down about a 1.4 second lead, and then Bell started to open that gap back up again, or Larson rather opened that gap back up again once he finally got through that lap traffic. So on still a few lap older tires, it seems like Larson hanging on pretty well. So it doesn't seem like we're seeing as much tire fall off, at least in the first 10 laps of the run, but after that we'll start to see more, especially with the slicker racetrack, and of course this racetrack itself losing a bit of grip here over the last several seasons. It was last repaved / reconfigured prior to the start of the 2008 season, I believe. So this is definitely a surface that is over 15 years old, and now they have 2 races a year there instead of 1 for the longest time. They've had 2 races a year at Vegas since 2018, so keeping that trend going. We will see fall off throughout the course of the race, but it's tough to see much, at least here in the first 10 laps of a tire stand.
Guys that rise up and really perform in those tense moments, huge situations, they end up making it and have a shot at the championship.
I beat your favorite driver. All of them.
And this is the time you have to rise to the occasion, as it's the round of 8. We'll start filling those spots for the championship 4. Want to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. It was Kyle Larson on lap 3, turning a lap of 29.417 seconds around this mile-and-a-half racetrack, averaging 183.567 miles an hour. Marty?
Kyle Larson in clean air right now, 40 laps to this point. And Cliff Daniels, when he was in traffic, after that was over with, said, hey, let's use that as a learning opportunity. He asked Kyle, how was the car in that traffic?
Tighter, for sure. I came out in traffic, so I was tighter, but now still similar. I feel like I can use my front tire a little bit more to one and all.
Yeah, good work. We're going more changes coming your way. We're just going to keep edging up on it.
So Steve, would you use that just like Cliff Daniels did? Say, hey, you were in traffic. What did you learn? And how is it different now that you're in clean air as he gets by another car? That's Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little practice, zero testing. So the first stage, while it does score points, it's also your test. It's your practice for that final stage. Clean air, your car drives like X. In traffic, like Y. Now, some might be, yeah, that's just what you're going to have. That's the split between traffic and clean air. But sometimes Cliff Daniels and his team think of maybe a little bit of an offset or an adjustment that can help one versus the other. Kim, how about the 45 of Tyler Reddick, currently 12th?
Yeah, and Tyler typically is one that loves to run the high line, but here's what he's saying about his race car.
You know, you really understand the feel of the car right now. Like, you know, holding the truck. Just where you have to standing or in the middle of the 1 and 2, 3 and 4 is either a wash or a loss.
And he went on to tell the team when he gets too deep into the throttle, he feels like it gets way too loose. He asked them to tighten him up on the next stop.
What was interesting right there was that he said he wasn't real sure what he could trust. And what he's talking about being loose, but he doesn't know how hard he can push the car without the back of the car coming around on him. So he doesn't have the feel that he's looking for. He's not just saying, hey, I'm just loose. That's my problem. He's saying, I've got a balance issue, but I can't really identify what my overall grip is. And that's a challenge for a team trying to figure out how to make the car better.
The cautions come out.
Yeah, we got a problem on the front straightaway car going off into turn 1 to 43 car. Eric Jones has a problem. Looks like a right rear tire's flat on that car.
Absolutely. There's those right rear tires we talked about. Eric's having a good day, running 15th too, Junior.
And the difference in this right rear tire is it doesn't look like he hit anything. Now, what kind of damage can be done to the car if the right rear blows up there and it came off? So that was probably best case scenario for Eric Jones in regard to damaging the car.
Yeah, best case for the body work. I don't know what's better for the diffuser, to be quite honest. Air in the tire. I know what's better. Air in the tire and not drag all that smoke you see is kind of dragging some of that underbody. And the car can look perfectly all in one piece, near perfect, maybe a little marks on the right rear, and it can be down 10 or 20% of total downforce. So, real interesting decision here with 14 laps to go on the stage, 31 laps on their tires. So new tires are going to be a huge advantage. They only had 8 sets of tires to run the entire race, kind of 3 extra when you look at the math. I believe if you're a playoff driver, you cannot afford to not put tires on here because I think you'll have no chance of scoring points. But the other cars in the back half of the lead laps save a set of tires and try to get lucky.
And Steve, this tire coming apart, does that drive people on pit road as well? People concerned they might have a tire problem.
Yeah, especially if they made any adjustments to go more aggressive, right? You may have started the race really conservative on air pressure after what you saw in practice with the tire issues, and then you make a step down to get more aggressive, and that was lap 30 on the tire for the 43 car, so definitely getting the attention of the team in pit road. And Dale, we talk about this. Green flag pit stops are different. When you put tires on and ride around under yellow, the whole car's hot and the air pressure builds up nice and slow. But when you leave pit road, hammer down on the gas with an ice cold tire, it has less pressure than ever. So that is probably some of the issue we saw. Remember, that's the same as what happens in practice. We think about air failures in practice. There's no pace laps in practice. So the first one of the race, you ride around slow for 3 laps. Not a big surprise nobody had issues. Then we come in, we fire on tires right away on the green, we go out, boom, right rear tire issue right away. So your point about adjustments is absolutely something that every crew chief down there needs to think about. The difference is how many of the non-playoff drivers are willing to get close to the fire, close to the edge, where a playoff driver might have to leave himself a little room, a little safety net.
And these are decisions. It's so difficult to make these decisions. Wow. You want to just race to get track position, right? We've seen the track position matters so much, but can you afford to make that decision and not put tires on?
Steve, explain the the tire issue, and we're going to have some fun with your virtual Toyota car.
Yeah, let's go to our virtual Toyota car. Understand the tires. First, we have to understand the aerodynamics. We're going to look underneath the car. That yellow area, that's the diffuser. The air comes underneath the car. Well, more total downforce. The lower that yellow gets to the back of the ground, the more total downforce you have. This is what the car looks like. So to do that, mechanically, you're out of ideas. So let me draw here real quick. You look, basically the height that right rear is off the ground. Now what we're going to do is take a little air out of the right rear tire. Remember, mechanically, you can't lower the car, so just flatten the right rear tire. Well, what is the difference? I mean, over here at the right, it probably came down an inch. Back here around the diffuser, there's no telling how much lower it is. That's a huge aerodynamics. That is why we run low on air. Remind everybody, this is the 9 of practice. Right rear goes down into the fence. You said it earlier. The 5 of Kyle Larson had one he felt, fortunately. And it wasn't just the 9. Daniel Suarez as well. He got lucky, we thought. Stayed out of the outside wall, came around, hit the tire barrier on the inside. So with that, tires will be a big conversation. And tires are what every drivers are looking for as they all come down pit road. It is a busy pit road, Dave.
Thankfully, Martin Truex Jr. not reporting any issue like that, but he will get 4 new Goodyear tires. He gave James Small's crew chief 2 different definitions when he runs a low line and when he runs a high line. They'll make fixes for that.
And Cliff Daniel said, no question, we are heading to see Kyle Larson on pit road. He said his biggest problem, clean air in the car, way too free. Also too free for Christopher Bell. But Adam Stevens makes the call for a 2-tire stop for Bell. So they get the track position here of those who pitted 4 tires for a lot of 2-tire stops as well, Rick.
Yeah, they know it's a sprint to the finish. There's only 12 laps to go in stage 1, and so they're going to try that 2-tire track position strategy call.
So 2 tires for Christopher Bell, a few others. Bell going to win the race off pit road. Didn't get through this in the pre-race, but I had my playoff predictions for the round of 8, who I think will make it to the championship 4 through these races. William Byron being one of which who I think will advance. I think Kyle Larson will advance too. Those two have been very good at 1.5-mile tracks this season. We've got 2 of them, and Kyle Larson himself has been very good in the short tracks this year. Of course, one at Martinsville in the spring. Has a Richmond race win, a win at North Wilkesboro, so I think Larson should have a pretty good run, obviously, as well. Denny Hamlin. Toyotas have been really good on intermediate tracks. I like Hamlin over Truex because Truex, again, had finished in the top 15 in the first 6 playoff races, and in fact, in the last 7 races, it's finished outside the top 15, going back to that regular season finale at Daytona as well. So he has kind of fallen off a bit. Hamlin has been hot in the playoffs, red hot, in fact. Honestly, Larson, Byron, and Hamlin have been the 3 hottest drivers, I think, in the postseason thus far. And I think Hamlin will continue that to make it to the championship 4. And I got Chris Buescher in the championship 4. Didn't really know who to pick for that final spot. I didn't like Truex. I don't think Blaney's consistent enough, quite like he was last season. And Tyler Reddick, I don't trust his pick crew. Same goes for Christopher Bell. So that's why I ended up going with Chris Buescher there. That is a team that doesn't seem to make mistakes. I know they had a slower green flag pit stop there moments ago, which dropped them from about 4th in the running order back to 9th, but still in the top 10. And usually, again, you don't see those mistakes out of that team this year. And that's why they have connected for 3 wins on the season. And I think he can be a driver that would point his way in. If I had to guess, I'm going to assume Larson's going to win one of these 3 races in the round. And then I'd probably lean towards either William Byron or Denny Hamlin winning another race in the round. One of those 2 will. And then Chris Buescher definitely getting in based off of points. So we'll see. And again, we just have pit stops. So by the time we go green, we'll be right around 10 laps to go in stage 1. Again, if you're wondering why there's no leaderboard, as we usually have, NASCAR's website is not working properly with the leaderboard. It's stuck on the parade lap still. So all I can really do is refresh the page or log out of NASCAR.com, log back in, and just kind of hope that it works one of these times. Just keep refreshing it, and hopefully it'll start working here eventually. Willie Bowen, Team Chevy is your pick. So he's just saying a Chevy in general are going to end up winning. Twin Cities Oxygen, thanks for tuning in, as well as Wyatt Gamer TV, Mark Witkowski, Acer India, thanks for tuning in. Beamer66, I saw you in the chat earlier as well. Frank Powers, TRG Tornado, AJ Summers, welcome into the stream, everybody. Dan Bowers also welcome to the stream. He's also pulling for Chevy. Right now in the chat, 97 votes have been casted so far, and right now you think Kyle Larson is going to win the race. Definitely looks to be the quickest early. 43% of the votes of those 98 votes say that Larson is going to win. 35% for others, still very close there. And William Byron at 12%, Chris Buescher at 10% of the votes. So we will see. Anthony Prey, also welcome to stream. He's pulling for Truex. Esteban Tobar Sosa, also greetings from Chile. So as soon as we get that leaderboard up again, we will have that. There's another look at the point standings coming into the day. So based off of where we've heard drivers running, and then when we get that leaderboard up, you get to keep track of it a little bit better yourselves as you watch the stream throughout the course of the race today. William Byron, again, was 20 points above the cutoff line coming in as the number 1 seed. Our regular season champion, Martin Truex Jr., was 15 points ahead of the cutoff line. Denny Hamlin plus 11. Kyle Larson, who has led a lot of laps today, not in the lead anymore after Bell's 2-tire stop. We'll see if he can get back around him to win this first stage because he is only plus 3 points ahead of Chris Buescher, who is the first driver below the cutoff line at -3. Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick each -8 points coming in, and Ryan Blaney -10. Definitely tight. I mean, any one of those guys can point their way in. Nobody, is in a must-win situation, at least as of right now. And of the 8 playoff drivers that remain, they've all had pretty clean days, at least through the first pit stop, and no major incident on the racetrack itself as well. Green flag is about to be in the air. Bell will elect the inside lane for the restart here. Tyler Reddick is going to be right in line behind him. Kyle Larson on the outside has 4 tires and looking to take advantage of that outside lane as he gets the push headed down into turn 1. Door-to-door for the race lead between the 5 and the 20, who's going to take shape with 9 laps to go in the stage. The 5 holding the 20 tightly down on the bottom of the track. Bell is going to widen out the exit of the corner now, and still a drag race on the back straightaway between Larson and Bell. Bell with a half block on Reddick, who was coming up with a head of steam behind him into 3. Reddick almost lost the bottom lane of the racetrack. Truex nearly takes him 3 wide for 3rd. Reddick able to gas it up quickly, almost squeezing the car to his outside of Brad Keselowski into the wall. Only 1 car diving down under the apron that time to try to pick up a few more positions. That was Kyle Busch in the 8 car. They're 3 wide right around where he's at. Kyle Larson was able to clear Bell through turns 1 and 2 to regain the race lead. Bell sits in 2nd, Keselowski 3rd. Blaney to the outside of Reddick trying to get around him. Right in that dirty air bubble with the 6 and the 45 side by side in front of him. And Blaney might have lifted a little more in the center of the corner, which now allows for Martin Truex Jr. to get underneath him. And Busch goes to the apron again to go 3 wide underneath the 19 and the 12 into turn 1. Busch went hard on that inside lane. Trying to get into the top 5 on his home track. Not a lot of room for Martin Truex Jr. off the exit of the corner. Contact, it looked like, between Blaney and Truex in that outside groove. And even with the bit of contact, leaning on each other down the backstretch, Truex going to back out of the gas, allow for Blaney to get in front. Blaney aggressively pulls to the bottom to clear the 8 of Kyle Busch, who gets tight. He lifts. He almost gets up into the fence. Contact with Truex in the 19 off turn 4 as they continue on the front stretch. Trying to get organized there in the back half of the top 10 with stage points on the line, and these playoff drivers battling aggressively, especially with other playoff drivers, trying to get the swing of points here with them on the line in less than 10 laps. Logano playing a little defense on Eric Almirola with a late block into 3, but he does hold on to, it looks like, 13th place on the leaderboard. Just looking for track position or some of those guys outside the top 10 right now. Denny Hamlin side by side with William Byron for 8th place on the racetrack. So a couple point swing looking there with 2 playoff drivers battling. And Kevin Harvick inside the top 10 for the first time today, now up to 10th place following this last restart. That was the first caution of the day as well for Eric Jones having a flat right rear tire. And we're about to have our second caution coming up soon with the stage 1 break. 4 to go right now in stage 1. Larson 0.4 of a second out ahead of Bell. Larson took 4 tires during that last pit stop. Bell only took 2. Trying to keep the track position. He does remain in 2nd, but shouldn't have anything for Larson with the older left side tires. Brad Keselowski also took 2 tires. He still sits in 3rd ahead of Reddick and Blaney. And Blaney putting a lot of pressure on Tyler Reddick right now for 4th. I believe Blaney ended up taking 4 tires, and I believe outside of Larson, he is the next closest on 4. Although Truex back to the inside of Blaney again as they nearly get together off turn 4. 2 of the cleaner racers in the garage, Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney, racing very aggressively with each other here late in stage 1. Blaney again hanging on. The 19 was faster And then the 12 really probably had a top 3 car, but lost ground on pit row, loses more ground on the restart, now back to 6th after running 2nd when the caution initially came out, and desperately trying to get back around the 12 car. Reddick, who is also in the playoffs, not going to allow for the 12 to get an easy pass on him, and if Blaney tries to make a move and then ends up failing to make the pass, I think that might slow those cars down enough for Truex to potentially get by both of them. We'll still have to keep an eye on this battle and see where that takes place. Truex had a great run off turn 2, dives to the inside of Blaney through 3 and 4. Busch is in that third lane up towards the outside of the racetrack trying to get a little clean air as he closes on both the cars in front of him who are side by side. He'll cut to the apron to get 3 wide. No, he's going to go up the middle, and he ran out of room. By the time he did go to the apron, Truex was there to block. Truex is going to be clear of Blaney into turns 1 and 2, and it looks like Blaney will be able to stay in front of Kyle Busch as Hamlin gets to the outside of the 8 car. Final lap of stage 1. A lot of jockeying for position going on right between positions 5 and 9 on the racetrack. Hamlin will clear Busch for a spot getting into turn 3, moving Hamlin to P7. Front of the field, Kyle Larson will win stage 1 at Las Vegas. Christopher Bell ends up 2nd. Third place of the stage goes to Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick 4th, and Martin Truex Jr. 5th. Ryan Blaney 6th in stage 1, Denny Hamlin 7th, Kyle Busch in 8th, Kevin Harvick 9th, and William Byron will round out, the top 10 there for our first stage today. So the 80 laps in stage 1 complete. Stage 2 will be 85 laps. Final stage 102 laps for today's race. The leaderboard on NASCAR.com still not up through the end of stage 1. Still refreshing the page there, but haven't really been able to work off of that. So with Kyle Larson winning this first stage, that's going to give Larson 6 stage wins on the season. And again, he came in last driver above the cutoff line, only plus 3 points over Chris Buescher, so getting 10 points in stage 1. Massive for that 5 team. Can't award any more playoff points to either race winners or stage winners, with the next round being just a 1-race kind of do-or-die championship scenario between the final 4. So points won't matter in that one, but obviously still stage points awarded 1 through 10 in positions 1 through 10 at the end of the first 2 stages. 1 point per position for the race finish as well, as we're used to seeing under this current points format. We'll take a look at the owner standings coming into the day because, again, Martin Truex Jr. did not qualify the 19 car for the Owners' Championship. Truex only still alive for the Drivers' title. As far as the Owners' title, the 9 team was that 8th and final team, and they will be the 8th seed as well. Again, no wins, of course, only giving themselves 2 playoff points to begin this round, but only having the 2 playoff points has gotten them through the first 2 rounds in and of itself. Chase Elliott's had some good runs in the playoffs so far. They come in, if I do my math correctly here, they would come in 19 points below the cutoff line on Chris Buescher, who would have the final spot in that 17 car for the owner's title. So that would obviously shift Bell, Reddick, and Blaney up a spot as well from where they were in the driver's standings coming into the day. And obviously Elliott starting at the back, not getting stage points in that first stage. Going to hurt the 9 team from the owner's standings, at least for the first stage of the first race of those round of 8.
Casino and Spa, where the racers stay in Las Vegas.
In clutch moments, a lot of pressure comes to the table. Pressure can be good because it means that you're going for something pretty special. When there was doubt, I gave it up. Don't make me give it up. I was facing on, and I stood tall, and didn't know.
This race is
Probably gonna get
probably gonna get
copyrighted for that, but Hopefully I don't.
65 laps. Kim.
And Tyler Reddick getting valuable stage points after a two-tire call that last stop. This stop, though, the call is going to be 4 tires. He said, I about wrecked in 1 and 2. I am shocked at how loose I still am. Fujifilm's got Dave told him we will tighten you up a bit more.
Denny Hamlin grabbed 4 stage points, told his crew he's being a bit guarded for these tire issues here. Looks like he'll just get 2 and leave, Marty.
Kyle Larson said the car is still too free, and I could tell in the long run that would not be good. 4 fresh tires for him. Cliff Daniels said we'll keep chipping at it. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell, 4 fresh tires for him as well. He said the car is better, and I can trust it a little bit more. And valuable stage points for Bell as well. He got 9 in that stage, Rick.
It's a lot of two-tire stops for the teams that took 4 during the last pit stop, and vice versa. The teams that took 2 definitely took 4 this time, like Bell. Larson taking 4 again. Bell losing 4 spots of pit road. Larson losing 6, but they were the first 2 off pit road of those that took 4. Looked like fuel only for Corey LaJoie to cycle out to the race lead for the first time today as well. So this next restart going to be interesting, putting the faster cars in the middle of the top 10. Going to have to try to fight through the front 4 or 5 cars on this restart. So once again, Kyle Larson, your Stage 1 winner in today's race. Be sure to hit that like button on the stream if you haven't yet. We're up to 60 likes, our goal of 150. So we're pacing correctly to getting to our goal today. And appreciate everybody that is tuning in throughout the course of this race so far. Hopefully we get that leaderboard up at some point in time in Stage 2. We'll take our third ad break of the race today then while you're listening live to the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas. And we'll begin Stage 2 here shortly. Once again, those are the point standings coming into the day. I guess while we don't have the leaderboard up right now, we could take a look at the fantasy team. See who I add on my lineup. Take a look at the KRC League results. Our winner from the Fantasy League from last season chose to go to Las Vegas this weekend. So that was part of the reason why I was going to end up going there. Unfortunately, my flight ended up getting canceled. But they still got the tickets, so he is there with a friend of his. And they are at Las Vegas for their first Vegas Cup race today. So hopefully they're enjoying. And as far as our coverage here today, obviously kind of late notice, but that is the reason why I was going to go out for the Cup Series race. And my first trip to Las Vegas as well. Unfortunately, did not go according to plan. Between that and the whole Bristol scenario there 2 weeks ago, not been a good month for me when it comes to NASCAR traveling. But I will be at my apartment for the remainder of the season. Only 3 weeks left after this weekend. Of course, we have Homestead next weekend for all 3 series. Martinsville, we've got the Cup Series and the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. Trucks are not racing at Martinsville. And then, of course, the Championship 4 for all 3 series, the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup at Phoenix the following weekend. So that is the schedule coming up. And again, live commentary streams for all of those races. So we have just 8 more live commentary streams on the year then after today. Triple header next weekend with Homestead, followed by the Cup Series race, of course, next Sunday.
You adjust your picks until the end of Stage 2, which we're about to start. Visit NASCAR.com/fantasy. You can select the fantasy icon on the mobile app leaderboard to make in-race changes. Okay, so the end of Stage 1, the top 10 earned points, and here are the drivers that grabbed those points. Larson got 10. And you see all of the drivers in the top 10, with the exception of Busch and Harvick, are playoff drivers. So 7 of the 8 playoff drivers were able to grab points in Stage 1. And it was a hard-fought battle between a couple drivers, the 19 and the 12.
Yeah, down the back straightaway, 3 wide. With the 8-car Kyle Busch, almost some contact. Kyle Busch started back going 3 wide. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack here. And almost more contact. The 12. Just about hits the fence off a 4. Dave. James Small, the crew chief, kept him out with this reasoning. Okay. He's got the front row, Steve, but not a lot came with it. What do you think?
Well, 10
came with everybody else.
Yeah, 10 laps on his tires. I think James probably thought he would get a few to stay out behind him. You get 3 or 4 cars behind him, this might work. But unfortunately, with everyone behind him on fresh tires, I'm not sure this is going to be an overall benefit. But sometimes you got to gamble a little, Rick, to try to get your playoffs going the right way.
Alrighty, so Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs cars on the front row for this one. Truex, the only car that stayed out of the pits. Hamlin took 2 when he was on pit road. Green flag in the air. Truex on that inside lane. Blaney tried to throw a block on Byron into the first turn as they all go to the apron. 4 wide in the middle of the pack as they work their way to turn 1. Still 4 wide and tight in the center of the corner. Ryan Blaney with really not much of anywhere to go. Going to get to 3 wide. Still 4 wide in his rearview mirror behind him. And some bump drafting as well getting into that third turn. Outside of that little bit of a bump draft, I don't think anybody made contact with anybody somehow. Wild restart, though, at the back of the pack. Truex holds on to the lead. Blaney gets blocked nearly into the grass. Down to the apron through the tri-oval by Justin Haley in the 31. And Blaney will take Haley and Byron 3 wide now into the first turn. Blaney moves up off the bottom, nearly making contact with the 31 car. Blaney's been all over the place here in the early going of this one, trying to battle for every position he can. Hamlin and Keselowski side by side for second in front of Christopher Bell is trying to get back to the lead as he was leading multiple times in that first stage. He'll draft behind his teammate Denny Hamlin in that outside lane. Didn't bump draft him enough, though, as the 6 still stays underneath him through 1 and 2. Brad a little bit on the loose side, it looked like, as he carried his momentum through that corner. Was going to side draft Hamlin. As he thought about doing so, he had to quickly throw a block on Bell back to the bottom lane. Hamlin now going to be able to clear Keselowski off turn 4 for second. Bell still remains in 4th behind the 6. Byron and Blaney still side by side for position in the tri-oval. Byron on the inside, Blaney on the outside. Into the first turn. Kyle Larson, by the way, in 5th place, of course, after winning stage 1. Took on 4 tires during that last pit stop. Same goes for Bell. They're trying to get by everybody in front of them on 2 tires. Or in Truex's case, staying out completely on about 9-lap old tires. Larson to the inside of Bell as Bell's still stuck behind Keselowski. Bell taking a little too long to get by the 6. The 5 of Larson does not want to wait. Cuts to the bottom lane and clears him even before getting into turn 1. Ty Gibbs out of nowhere up inside the top 10, and he challenges Bell to the inside through 1 and 2 as he followed Larson's line going into that first turn. Buescher off the high side with a great deal of momentum on the backstretch. Will take it 3 wide underneath both Gibbs and Bell. He's going to clear Gibbs in the middle of the corner. He's going to slide all the way up and clear the 20 as well. What a move by Chris Buescher. Getting 2 positions rather, in one corner as he now moves into the top 5 once again. After finishing in 10th place in stage 1. Quickly moving himself back into the top 5 early in stage 2. Penalty on that restart, by the way, for last week's winner, A.J. Allmendinger, a restart lane violation as he went to the apron before he got to the start-finish line. You have to wait till after the start-finish line to move out of your designated line, whether it's the inside or the bottom, so that is why he is getting penalized there. Bell going to get to Kyle Larson to the inside of Brad Keselowski. Bell left in the dust after Larson and Buescher both passed him. Larson couldn't hold the bottom very well through the bumps that time, and a great surge of momentum by Keselowski to the outside. Truex catching the lap car of Allmendinger in a bad spot. He was trying to get up to speed after he was exiting pit road. He got to the inside of Keselowski, but got picked behind the lap car of Allmendinger. Had to lift quite a bit. Larson gets by Truex, and now Buescher also looking to get by the 19 car for 4th as they're side by side for position into turn 1. And now Buescher doesn't get through the bottom lane very well. Truex might have had to lift a bit off the exit of the corner as they still stay nose to nose into turn 3. Ty Gibbs starting to close that gap down. Or rather, Gibbs has fallen back a couple spots. That is Christopher Bell. Aerial view is kind of tough to tell which Toyota that was. It was Bell's race car who was closing in on the 19 and the 17, and Truex is just losing spots on this restart. I don't think it's the car, really. It was him getting picked behind Allmendinger. He's lost 4 positions since that happened. Fallen from 4th to 6th, 3rd to 6th. And now Ryan Blaney catching back up to the 19, and those two had a heck of a battle at the end of stage 1. I don't think they like the way they're racing each other. I think that's part of the problem. Blaney to the inside of the 19 of Truex. We'll see if he can pull clear off the exit of the corner. It would have been very close, so Blaney decides not to pull up. Smart move. Although in doing so, it's going to slow his corner entry speed down, having that inside lane and an awkward angle getting in. Although Truex drops way back in the middle of 3 and 4 as he was off the gas for a very long time. Remember, he does have older tires. He was the only car that stayed out of the pits. So being back in traffic, that is probably not helping him. And now that he's surrounded by a bunch of drivers that took 4 tires, that could be part of the reason why the 19 is dropping like a rock. After being in the lead on the restart, handful laps later, Martin Truex Jr. has fallen outside the top 10 and is losing a ton of track position. $18 laps into the second stage right now. Denny Hamlin is your race leader. Brad Keselowski scored in second. Kyle Larson in third. Chris Buescher fourth. And Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5. So once again, that is the top 5 on the leaderboard. The points as they run with Denny Hamlin leading, obviously he would be in with a win. Kyle Larson plus 13 points. William Byron also plus 13 points. And Martin Truex Jr. still losing positions on the restart, only plus 3 over Christopher Bell. Chris Buescher minus 6. Ryan Blaney minus 11. Tyler Reddick minus 13. Still a very tight battle in the point standings through the first portion of this race today, as we are just over 100 laps in. Or actually, just now at lap 100. Not a big separation from first in the standings through 8th at this point. All having pretty solid runs for the most part here today. Truex the only one outside the top 10 now after having that failed pit strategy. We'll see if he can start to settle in. I would imagine the tires will start to even out at some point in time. But the handling maybe not great for that 19 car in heavy traffic as well, which could be hurting him there also. Larson has not been able to get by Brad Keselowski. He is up to third place. Brad is in second. It almost seems as if the 6 of Keselowski's closing in on Denny Hamlin as well. About to have a 3-car battle for the lead here shortly. Hamlin continues to run that bottom lane on the white line through both corners. Keselowski and Larson keep running that middle or upper groove. They're getting the straightaway speed. And now that they're close enough in the draft behind Hamlin, they're getting even more straightaway speed. Larson off that wall line should carry even more than what Keselowski in the middle groove should carry, but they're still both closing on Hamlin into turn 1. Hamlin again on the bottom lane, no defensive line there. Keselowski in the middle will slide up in front of Larson. Maybe got a bit tight in the center of the corner that time. Into turn 3, a 3-car battle for the lead again between Hamlin, Keselowski, and Larson. Hamlin finally moves off the white line into the middle groove. Keselowski changes his line up near the wall, but not quite as wide as Larson was that time through 3 and 4. They have over a 2-second gap between the 3 of them and then Christopher Bell in 4th. Again, Hamlin to the bottom through the bumps in 1 and 2. As that battle continues on lap 23 in stage 2 to this point, NBC will take a full screen commercial break. Still waiting on the raw feed to be working on NASCAR's website right now, so I'll pull up the live leaderboard on my NASCAR app on my phone, and we'll go through that full leaderboard for the second time today. Again, Denny Hamlin currently a race leader at lap 103. Brad Keselowski in second, Kyle Larson third, Christopher Bell fourth, Chris Buescher in fifth, Ryan Blaney sixth, William Byron seventh, Ty Gibbs eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, Tyler Reddick is in 10th, Joey Logano in 11th, 12th place is Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr. is dropped to 13th, Kevin Harvick 14th, Ross Chastain 15th, Daniel Suarez in 16th, Bubba Wallace 17th, Eric Almirola 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 20th. 21st is Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell 22nd, Austin Cindric 23rd, Chase Elliott 24th, Chase Briscoe 25th, 26th is Justin Haley, Austin Dillon 27th, Harrison Burton 28th, 29th is Corey LaJoie, and Eric Jones is in 30th. Ty Dillon is 31st, Ty Gillen 32nd, J.J. Gilly 33rd, Brendan Poole 34th, A.J. Allmendinger 35th, and 36th is B.J. McLeod. Only Allmendinger and McLeod are a lap down. Of course, that restart violation for Allmendinger took him off the lead lap. McLeod still a lap down. He was actually 2 laps down. Everybody that was 1 lap down when the first caution came out for Eric Jones having a flat right rear with less than 20 to go in stage 1 took the wave around to get their laps back, knowing that they weren't going to be able to fall a lap down in the final 9 laps of the last stage. So that's why we have as many cars on the lead lap again as we do. I think it was down to like 26 or 27 cars on the lead lap up until that first caution came out. Again, a lot of those took the wave around. Everybody did take the wave around, but McLeod only got one of his laps back because he was 2 down. And Allmendinger, after getting his lap back, is now a lap down again, as you heard. So this was my fantasy team coming into this week. I had Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Chris Buescher, and Bubba Wallace. Have until the end of stage 2 to try to plug and play the 5 drivers that I want to receive points for my fantasy team today. Tyler Reddick, I had him beating Ryan Blaney right now. Blaney in 6th. Reddick is in 10th. I went 4 for 4 on the bonus picks last week, so we'll see if I can do that again this week. As far as Chris Buescher, I had him over Bell. Only 1 spot separating the 2 of those guys right now, with Bell ahead of Buescher to this point. Had Kyle Larson beating Denny Hamlin. Hamlin leading Larson in 3rd. Larson did win stage 1, though. And then I had Byron beating Truex. Byron in 7th. Truex is now back to 16th, currently on lap 28 in stage 2.
Michigan heads to East Lansing, facing state rival Michigan State. It's Wolverines versus Spartans. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Get ready for Saturday night. And the top 3 staying the same as Hamlin, Keselowski, and Larson, holding those 3 spots. And Larson has fallen back from Brad Keselowski. Keselowski had closed the gap just a bit on Denny Hamlin.
I think when I get the lead, I won't be hurt.
That was the 5 radio of Kyle Larson.
He's talking about how he's a little bit tight behind these cars. He feels like he won't need an adjustment, though. If he can get to the lead, the car balance should go to where he wants to be. Just good information for his team to sort of cipher through. Marty, what do you know down there?
Well, it's an interesting dilemma, right, Steve? Because it keeps telling Cliff Daniels when I'm in traffic, it's one thing, but when I'm out front, it's another thing. So if you're Cliff Daniels and you've led 65 laps at this point and you probably have the fastest car, which way do you go? Because pit stops are coming up pretty quick.
Well, I keep it good in clean air. I'm sorry, but I don't think it's... I know it doesn't drive like Larson wants in traffic. Dale, Jeff, you may disagree as a driver, but I'm not sure if I make it drive way better, it's going to help you pass the car in front of you. Like, I need to have the most potential in this race car it is, and hope, by good fortune, good luck, and a good restart, we end up with clean air at the end. Yeah, I think we talked about it, joke about it, where you can't change the direction of the wheel, but you can't change dirty air.
Oh, into the wall, the 42, Carson Hocevar. Could this be a right rear tire issue?
Looks like his right rear tire is flat. And remember, this is the team car to the 43 who had the flat tire earlier. There you go. Blew a tire out of Hocevar's radio. So both of the Legacy Motor Club cars, Jimmy Johnson in attendance. This is not going to put a smile on his face, as both the 42 and the 43 have both blown right rear tires in today's race.
Looks like enough damage to the right side of this one. It might end his day. Totaling damage possibly there on the right rear. And he's going to try to pull back into his pit stall if he can make it all the way around the racetrack. But the right side tires both down on the 42 of Hocevar. It was announced earlier that he would be running the remaining races this year for Legacy Motor Club.
Right at the top of the racetrack in turn 1 and 2. And he made contact with the ball. Maybe the tire is going down before he gets to the corner. So he tried to keep it against the fence, maybe to slow the car down.
So bad break for Carson Hocevar, but is this a good break for Mark Truex Jr., who was falling back?
So, I don't know. If you pit under green and he pits early, I think he can kind of overcome some of his positions as good as car. He's 16th. Maybe he would come a little bit early, drove back up to 10th or 12th. Now everybody's going to come on pit road. There's the boss man of Legacy Motor Club, Jimmy Johnson.
Mac Kenseth this week. He was just brought on as a competition advisor to this team. He's here as well. So this team trying to step up, just bring more speed to the racetrack.
So back to the Truex conversation. I wonder if he didn't have more potential in a green flag cycle to gain spots. But if he was going to keep losing spots, Rick, I don't know. Let's hear what that 19 thinks about it.
I almost didn't listen to the video. I'm not really very good at not doing that, Felt like it was really hard on tires to restart. Yeah, you should have known that. We didn't know what we were doing.
So,
relationship. And I sat down with James Small after the regular season championship was awarded and talked about that communication on the radio. And he said, listen, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but you guys in the media, there's James Small, and people listening in, it sounds worse than it is. This is just how we communicate. My head explodes because that's just not my style. But these two have found it. But such a down year last year, missing the playoffs, come back to win the regular season, then it's going to feel like deja vu, not a top 15. They come here, they have a great car. Then you hear James, he's not making excuses. Yeah, you should have not listened to me. That was a bad call. We don't know what we're doing, guys. It's like, okay, come on.
So, at least they're a little lighthearted about it. We'll see if this caution helps them. One thing for sure, though, after what just happened in the 19, I don't believe anyone you're going to see stay on the racetrack right now. This will be an entire field coming to pit road inside the fuel window to the end of stage 2.
Well, fans, download the official app of NASCAR. You can follow the action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras and radio broadcast. You can also upgrade to premium for access to driver audio channels where you can listen into what we just heard right there. Search NASCAR in your app store and you can start a free trial today. So, with 52 to go in this stage, Steve, everybody's going to come. But will we see them try to stretch it potentially all the way to the end of the stage and maybe test those tires?
Well, yeah. Well, I think this is awful to say, but I think your tire's either going to make it 30 laps or it isn't. Whether it goes 50 or 60 or 70, I don't think makes a difference. I think you either have a tire that's going to fail or it isn't. And for that reason, I think everyone's going to pit now and run the final 50 laps to the end of the stage.
Kim.
And Chris Buescher complained that pit road is pretty slick today, so he'll look to stop a little bit short in his box. He said it was way too free. It made him hard to move up a lane. They're going to take 4 fresh Goodyear tires on this stop after taking 2 the last stop. A drink of snow fuel.
Leader Denny Hamlin says they need better security into turn 1 just before the bumps. Please don't hurt the exit. 4 tires this time, Marty.
Kyle Larson said the car is much better. The loose condition he's dealt with all day long, slowly going away on the 5 car. He said if we get the lead, we will be really good. Christopher Bell took him a while to get through traffic, but he said at the end of that run, car is so good. Brian Keselowski and his team made the spot here on pit road. Good stop for the 6 months, Rick.
RFK Racing. Very impressive for Brad's crew as he was able to get off pit road first. It was Carson Hocevar that had a right rear tire go down into the wall. He went.
Under caution for the second time for incident today, and the second time it is a Legacy Motor Club race car, this time Carson Hocevar, and it looks like his day is more than likely going to come to an end. Eric Jones was able to continue and remain on the lead lap. Currently, Jones in the 43 car is up to 18th place after he had a right rear tire go down. Not a lot of damage on the car, so great job being able to continue on, and we'll see how much further ahead he can get that car because he has been very fast on the intermediate track so far in the playoffs. And maybe could have been even faster if he didn't have that slight damage. But obviously doesn't seem too serious considering that he has worked his way back up through the field just a minute. So Brad Keselowski wins the race off pit road. He's going to be the leader on the restart. We're still waiting on our leaderboard to update, obviously, when they get back to the start-finish line this time by. But it will be Keselowski out in front, then Larson, then Hamlin. That was the top 3 off of pit road. So again, we will have to wait and see the rest of the leaderboard, obviously, once they get back to the line this time by. And they will be able to make it on fuel, as you heard there from Steve Letarte, to the end of this stage, no problem. Roughly 50 or so laps left in stage 2. Final stage, 102 laps, a little bit longer than the first 2 stages in today's 400-mile, 267-lap race at Las Vegas. Leaderboard obviously working now, so that's good. Caleb Brinkley, thanks for tuning in. I'm here. That's all that matters. Whether I'm here or at the racetrack every Sunday during the NASCAR season. Race day Sunday. Outside of the 2 Saturday races they have, of course. Yep, caution for Carson Hocevar. Had a right rear tire go down. But definitely had pretty significant damage on his race car. And he is off the racetrack right now, currently 5 laps down. So Hocevar done for the day. Free pass goes to A.J. Allmendinger, so he'll be back on the lead lap, leaving B.J. McLeod as the only car 1 lap down now. But we'll have a long enough green flag run. I'd imagine we'll probably see lap traffic before the end of this next stage. But if we do get a quick enough caution, then McLeod will get back on the lead lap. And or be able to take the wave around, of course, as well. So a lot of these teams still have about 4 or 5 sets of tires left, and we are almost halfway home. So pacing pretty good for tires to this point. Doesn't look like that's going to become a major issue for really any of these teams. So there you see our leaderboard. Keselowski, Larson, actually Bell ahead of Hamlin off of pit road. So Bell third, then Hamlin fourth. So Hamlin loses a couple spots on pit road, 3 to be exact. Byron fifth. Then you have Blaney, followed by Buescher, followed by Logano, Kyle Busch, Chastain. So that'll be the drivers in those front 5 rows, depending on what lane they end up choosing for this next restart. Keselowski has taken the inside line, despite the fact that the outside seems to be the more preferred lane on these restarts today. Larson, who was not the control car the last restart, got to the lead from the outside, and we'll see if he can do it again. Surprised more guys haven't taken it. Bell, when he got to the lead off the initial start of the race, I think did take the bottom, and that was the only time we've seen the inside lane work on a restart so far. And again, this is our 3rd caution, so our 4th attempt at getting to see exactly which lane is the better takeoff lane. Fairly even, but I'd probably still give the edge to the outside. Hamlin right behind Larson there. Going to give him the push, hand out the window for Keselowski as he gets pushed by Christopher Bell. Better launch for Keselowski than Larson, but the 11 still locking bumpers with the 5 is going to help him into that first turn and allow for Keselowski not to clear the 5 car yet. Sailing it off into the corner with a lot more speed is Larson. He should carry more momentum off the high side, but Keselowski still underneath them. 3 wide between Chastain and Logano. And it looks like Tyler Reddick also in the mix back there. And they will be able to file out and funnel out pretty cleanly off of turn 4. Keselowski still hanging with Larson. Larson leads the lap at the line, but still side by side. Brad goes to the apron, cuts his way into turn 1 with an awkward angle. Thought he was maybe going to slide up in front of the 5 car, but that wasn't the case right away. Still clear off the exit of turn 2, and Brad Keselowski taking the lead at Las Vegas. I haven't seen the 6 car run this well on an intermediate track much this season. Usually it's Chris Buescher on the intermediate tracks who's out there leading laps. Keselowski maybe more so on the short tracks and super speedways, but Brad Keselowski hanging on tough right now. He's been in the top 3 for a little while and now in the lead for the first time today. But Kyle Larson looking to get back in front of him for right now. Not the case. About a 2-car length gap off of turn 2 at lap number 120. Contact. Further back, Wallace and Chastain. Not sure if Chastain may have forced Wallace into the wall there or if it was Chastain who had gotten into the wall on his own. Definitely saw some smoke flying. The 23 was bump drafting the 1 on the backstretch, so it was kind of hard to tell exactly who scrubbed the wall. Nothing too major, though. Everybody continuing on. Nobody has cut a tire, at least to this point. Tyler Reddick continues to lose spots in the restarts. He's outside the top 10 now. Losing more positions here to Joey Logano. Alex Bowman, he was able to get back by. Now to the outside of the 22 car, who is definitely struggling middle off right now. Bowman on the inside will get alongside Logano. Contact between Reddick and Logano off turn 4 as they were 3 wide with Bowman underneath them. Logano got a bit sideways, hangs onto the race car. Somehow Reddick still kept his momentum up. Kept it off the wall as well, which was a great job by him. I mean, even if he would have got knocked into the wall there, I mean, depending on what could have happened accident-wise, that might have already knocked Reddick into a must-win situation to make it to the championship 4, but great driving there by the 45 and the 22 to keep his car from spinning into the 48 underneath him, despite the contact that they had made. Very tight hold there, and Reddick was able to stay in it. Bowman gets by Joey Logano, and now he's looking to also get by Tyler Reddick. Truex trying to fight his way back to the top 10 as he battles Logano for 13th. Truex on the bottom lane. Logano on the outside, still struggling. It just looks like the 22 car is super tight right now because middle of the corner, he is just off throttle. You can tell he's off throttle just because the cars around him are beating him there, but it doesn't look like the rear of the car is sliding out from underneath him, so I don't think it's the rear tire grip. It just looks like he's tight in traffic. Byron and Bell side by side for position. Byron's been quiet today, but he is all of a sudden inside the top 5 and now battling for 3rd place. It's going to run high. Going to give Bell a little bit of room. Bell goes wide. Byron still giving Bell room as Bell aggressively side drafts Byron down to the apron that time at the start-finish line. Through the bumps on the inside for Willie B in the 24, and they still stay door-to-door as they run side by side for as long as they are. The top 2 are pulling away, and Denny Hamlin from 5th place is closing in on the back of both of these cars that are still door-to-door into turn 3, and now Byron's clear of Bell as Bell will pull to the bottom lane behind the 24 now. So William Byron back up to 3rd place. Bell in that middle groove. Trying to get a little bit of that momentum back. His car just doesn't seem to quite be the same in traffic compared to when he has the clean air. And maybe has faded a bit in the setup side of things where other drivers have caught up to him. And he may be leaning away from some of those faster cars at the front of the field. Brad Keselowski kind of coming from nowhere in the middle portion of this race to lead. The reason why I say that is the reason why he got in track position to get inside the top 5 late in stage 1 was because of that 2-tire strategy call. And then they had another 2-tire strategy call at the beginning of stage 2, which kept him out in track position. 4 tires there, and a fast 4-tire stop wins him the race off pit road. And now he's out in the lead as he was able to battle off Larson successfully on that last restart and will continue in front of him for the moment. Down to 38 laps to go in stage 2. We're approaching the halfway point in the race here shortly. So non-playoff driver leading the field. That currently puts William Byron at the top spot in points at plus 19 above the cutoff line as we run right now. It's about to go through the rest of those point standings, but it looks like NBC cut into another commercial break here. While they do that, we'll go through the top 10 real quick and the differentials interval-wise between the top 10 positions. Brad Keselowski leading the race right now by 0.3 of a second over Kyle Larson in second. William Byron 0.8 of a second back in third and closing. Christopher Bell now in 4th place, 1.2 seconds off the lead. 1.7 seconds back is Denny Hamlin in 5th. Chris Buescher in 6th, 2.3 seconds back. 3 seconds off the lead is Ryan Blaney in 7th. Ross Chastain in 8th place, 3.3 seconds off the lead. Kyle Busch is in 9th place right now, 3.7 seconds off the lead. And Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. He's 4.2 seconds back. So that is the top 10 positions in the running order right now, nearly middle of the race. You're listening live on KRC, our NASCAR YouTube channel here. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we take another ad break here and continue on with our live flag-to-flag coverage of the South Point Casino 400. And also be sure to vote for who you think is going to win today's race at Las Vegas. Again, if you haven't yet, 137 votes have been casted so far. We close our poll at the end of Stage 2 every race. Kyle Larson leading that poll at 45%. 31% of you say somebody other than Buescher, Byron, or Larson will win. And then Byron and Buescher both at 12% of the votes. So still somewhat tight between Larson and other, but Larson's starting to run away on the voting side of things. And he does seem to have the fastest car in the field today, especially when he's out in front, but currently struggling to get by Brad Keselowski, who's the newcomer out in front of the field right now. And again, we'll see if he can continue to stay up there. Truex, who also looked quick in the early going, fell back after staying out of the pits and not taking tires. Fell to 16th. He has now worked himself back into 11th as he just passed Tyler Reddick on the racetrack through 3 and 4. 34 laps to go now in Stage 2. Keselowski 0.7 of a second ahead of Larson. That last lap, Keselowski was only 15 1,000ths of a second slower than Larson. Larson did say his car was starting to slowly tighten back up on him, where if he feels if he gets to the lead, it'll be perfect. But because it is slowly tightening up on him, that might hurt him a little bit more in traffic than having a looser car. Again, he was faster than Keselowski that last lap, but it's not by much, about 0.04 of a second faster. So he tries to close that gap on the 6th car once again.
racers stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. It's your ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want all under one roof. Out in front, Brad Keselowski now has led 18 laps in this one. Larson, 0.6 of a second behind. Byron Bell, Hamlin on the top five. That is Busher, Blaney, Chastain, Kyle Busch, and Alex Bowman, the top 10. Just outside the top 10, two playoff drivers in Mark Truex Jr. and Tyler Reddick. Busch trying to get by the one of Chastain.
Chastain remember he got a lap down earlier. He fought back, done a really good job to get track position. Smash race car.
Had a big run right there. Kyle Busch blocked it. Behind this trio is the 19, so he loves seeing those guys run each other hard. It might give Truex an opportunity to close the gap just a little bit. Otherwise, the tends to get a little bit spread out over the long run, and you may get a spot or two as Truex tries to climb his way back into the top 10. But as this stage continues, we get near the end. Gaining multiple spots to be able to climb your way back into the top 5, unlikely without a yellow flag.
And Marty, what about the local star Kyle Busch?
Would love to get a second win here in Las Vegas in his hometown, as you mentioned, Rick. So we're going to watch this back half of the top 10 battle between non-playoff drivers. Talked to Randall Burnett this morning, and he said, listen, we have a lot to prove still in these playoffs. So 3 wins that came early in the year. And even racetracks kind of like Las Vegas, these bigger racetracks. And I feel like we can show something here and at Miami. Kyle said a moment ago, car very good. Just see some track position and just a little bit too tight down.
Well, Ross Chastain running in the 9th position, and Jeff mentioned him being locked down early. That was due to a speeding penalty during one of the first stops. Too fast entering. They were able to take the wave around. That car was good to begin with, and they've made it even better early in this round. Ross said it's the best it's been all day. He just said he's getting a little bit loose now after firing off tight, Dave.
Another good run for Alex Bowman here at Vegas. Remember how the year started for him? As he gets so close to Ross Chastain right there. He finished 3rd here in the 3rd race of the season, and at one point led the points early, but a back injury kept him from, was one of the things that kept him out of races, and without a win did not make the playoffs. Trying to make some noise here before the end of the year. Here's a battle right here. The 12-car Blaney getting by Busher. Busher up to the top of the racetrack, trying to find some speed as the balance goes away on this 17 Ford.
Remember, Busher did not get any stage points in the first stage. But at 7th right now, needs to fight hard to try to get some here.
Truex finally catching a few cars to be able to take some spots away, passing the one of Chastain. The next car in front of him is going to be Bowman and then Busch. Opportunity maybe to run those guys down in this 19 car.
And that puts Mark Truex Jr. back up into the top 10, which he had fallen back, was running in the teens. But now maybe that missed call of the strategy for the 19 team is working out as he fights back into the top 10. Keselowski now with a 2.5-second lead over Byron, and the lap of Larson has slowed down. I wonder if this is another issue.
There you go, Rick. He said he hit the wall a little bit, and Cliff Daniels said it does not look terrible on TV. So obviously, 24 to go here in the stage scene. They're going to keep him out. They're not going to make him hit here.
Yeah, he's struggling with the balance of the car right there. You see the car bottling in the middle of the corner, but here's the... wow! That was massive. So, the car almost spins out. He does a really incredible thing. It basically just locks all 4 tires down, and that's kind of that, and the wall straightened the car out. So, the tires, the heat in the tires, and also the potential flat spot those tires, he's probably fighting against a little bit of that right now, but luckily I believe he avoided any kind of issue with beating a toe lead and also the body damage on the blade. But look at that.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's really upset these tires. How much longer can he hang on here?
Just drove tons of heat into him. You know, when you slide like that, can you imagine how much heat is going to the rear tires? And it's going to take a while to recover from that. Watch this. Kyle Larson, the wall actually saves him. He's in the gas hard. Car comes around right rear, and he does a great job right there of not overcorrecting. Keeps the wheels straight, doesn't turn away to the left, locks the tires down. Most drivers would have turned to the right. The front would have turned around and smacked the wall and damaged the front. Kyle Larson did not let that happen.
And remember, he was the Xfinity fastest lap earlier at over 183 miles an hour.
48.
And this time it's Bowman. He's going to slide back in front of traffic. The caution has come out.
Man, that was almost a bad deal right there. The car started to turn right, Rick, in front of oncoming traffic. He's running ninth.
Guys, 3 laps ago, Alex Bowman radioed to his team that the right rear started feeling kind of funny. It was not like it was earlier in the run, so something was going on.
Yeah, he's damaged the car. Now he has no steering.
Yeah, the right rear tire's not flat, so I don't know whether he looks like he may have gotten out of control or loose, much like his teammate did. Maybe he was having a vibration or an issue with the right rear. It looks like he's gotten the car sideways and up into the fence, much like Larson.
I can't tell if the right rear has an error, if it's off the ground or if it's bent up. There's so much damage. It's weird, but it's obvious, to your point, Junior, it's not torn up and off the wheel. I have to wait. A little more information on that happening right there. Yeah, absolutely.
It isn't a coincidence that happened within 2 or 3 laps of his teammate. I mean, that's probably a coincidence, but does it show a trend of handling as this racetrack is starting to change?
28 laps on that run. I mean, that is right on the number for right rear issues. I think the man that knows is this guy. He's looking at that right rear like
He knows something was going on.
yeah, exactly.
We're about to learn.
He'll climb into the AMR safety vehicle. They'll take him back to the infield care center while he'll get checked out. But an issue with the 48 has brought the caution out now for the 4th time today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
I think the answer here, even though you don't have as many tires as you wish you did, after seeing what happened to the 19, I think everybody's going to come in. Now, I think 2 tires is probably still an option. We've seen that some today, but at least 2 cold good years, Kim.
And a big debate between crew chief Matt McCall and driver Brad Keselowski. Ben said we have 3 sets of stickers, 1 set of scuffs, 20 to go. What do you think? Brad said scuffs on the right side. So there's scuffs on the rights for Brad, Dave.
Denny Hamlin said it was a lot more consistent through turns 1 and 2 than the time before. Same scenario as last time, according to the crew chief. A little bit tight at the end there. He'll take 4, Marty.
Just 2 tires for William Byron, right sides only. He said I need more security on entry for Byron. Brad Keselowski will win the race on pit road. Christopher Bell said I need to be much freer for a short run here. And yes, team's getting a little bit concerned about tire count down here on pit road.
Crew continues to do a great job for Keselowski. He wins the race off pit road.
Top 5 positions also 2 tires on pit road there. I don't like the call of putting scuffs on it. I get the tire count situation might come into play now with the pretty much timing of when these cautions have all taken place in today's race. They've all come off of decently long green flag runs that has caused these teams to have to put tires back on the car, want to put tires back on the car to keep the speed in it and keep the track position that they have on the racetrack. So the reason why I don't like them taking scuffs is because I haven't really seen the scuffs work out well during the tire saving / strategy mode this season. I don't know if it's the next gen car or what it is, but I haven't seen scuffs really work out when teams do end up putting scuffs on the car. So we'll see if it works out for Keselowski. I think clean air is definitely king. Him winning the race off pit road was big there, but if he loses the lead, I would not be shocked if he goes backwards. And everybody from 6th on back on the restart would be the drivers that will restart with 4 fresh good years on the race car as well. So we're under a caution once again here today. We're going to take a quick ad break before we get back to the restart as you're listening live on KRC on this YouTube channel to the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas in this NASCAR Cup Series playoff race. Again, we'll continue here shortly. Top 5 rows for the next restart. You got Larson and Byron up there at the front. followed by Kyle Busch and Joey Logano behind them. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson. Larson, the first driver on the 4 fresh Goodyears. Big timing caution for Larson as well when you consider the fact that he was very loose. Definitely burnt the tires off the car just a few laps in a big slide that he had before the caution came out. So otherwise, he was looking at having to go those final 20 laps with a very loose race car. Now doesn't have to fight it anymore. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin behind Larson, and then Ryan Blaney and Chris Buescher rounding out the top 10 under the caution. A lot of the playoff drivers took 4 tires. Byron, the only playoff driver that did take 2. We'll see a lot of these teams try to fight for those much-needed stage points. NBC now back from their commercial break, as we are going to restart with around 15 or so laps to go then in Stage 2. A little bit longer than that late stage restart we had in Stage 1, but we saw some wild 3-wide racing for a lot of that, with all playoff drivers pretty much trying to get back into it. My phone just died on me. That is not good. I thought I had it plugged in. I'm kind of an idiot for not having it plugged in. Give me a couple minutes and we'll get the race broadcast back on here. I think what I'm going to have to do, so I don't miss the restart, we're going to have to get rid of the leaderboard for a few laps. So we're going to get rid of the leaderboard for a few laps, and I'm going to watch it on my laptop until my phone gets enough charge in it to cut back on. There we go. So if you're wondering why there's a black screen, again, my phone was not plugged in there. It just died on me. Mid-caution. Problem is, I don't know if my laptop is fast enough to air the race live because it is taking forever for it just to come up on my screen. There we go. Gonna have to mute it. Just in time for the restart. How about that timing? Keselowski's got his former teammate Joey Logano behind him on the inside of row number 2. Green flag back in the air. William Byron on the outside of row 1 will try to take the challenge to Keselowski. Brad didn't feel he got a great push. Took the shortcut instead through the first turn. Shortest way into turn 1. Harvick and Hamlin blocking each other down towards the apron with awkward, sharp angles into turn 1 as well. Both fighting for that inside line. Harvick still gets a good run off turn 2, and a big block by Logano. Harvick has to lift or wreck. And him lifting is going to allow Bell to get back to the outside. Larson 3 wide above both Kyle Busch and Joey Logano as he now tries to fight forward. Keselowski Byron door to door for the race lead as they work their way back into turn 1 with Keselowski to the inside, Byron to the outside. Still working their way through the first turn. Keselowski going to slide up. Byron still staying strong on the top. Larson barely clear of Busch. Near contact made off of turn 2. My laptop is way too slow for this right now. It's freezing frame by frame. I don't think it's affecting the stream at all. I'm probably not even live anymore either. Yeah, my bad on that one. That was all my fault there. It's going to be a couple more laps of this. I don't know if I can take it anymore. I don't think it's affecting the stream at all. Actually, I think it is. It does look like it's affecting the stream a little bit. I don't know if it is from an audio standpoint, but it definitely is from a visual standpoint. We'll just get the live leaderboard back up on the screen. Get out of that. Let's get the live leaderboard back on the screen now. We'll just talk about that, and then hopefully get the broadcast back up and going here pretty soon. I was slowing my laptop down so much that I think it was starting to slow the stream down too. I couldn't even really broadcast the race because it was moving like frame by frame and kind of cutting in and out there. Kyle Larson going to retake the race lead away from Brad Keselowski the last lap, though. So Larson taking good use of those 4 fresh tires to get back to the front as he tries to sweep the stages today at Las Vegas. With Larson in the lead, Brad Keselowski is currently running in second. Ross Chastain is third. William Byron in fourth. Christopher Bell fifth. Joey Logano sixth. Denny Hamlin seventh. Kevin Harvick eighth. Kyle Busch ninth. And Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 10 currently. Chris Buescher in danger of potentially not getting stage points for the second consecutive stage. Buescher falling back to 14th now at last lap, moving Tyler Reddick back into the top 10, and Harvick fading as well, so something happened on the racetrack between those drivers. My phone is turning back on currently, so should only have a couple more minutes of this commentating while not actually watching the race, but watching the leaderboard. Ross Chastain into P2. By far the highest up in the running order we have seen Chastain today as he gets by Keselowski also, as the scuff's not working out for Brad right now, and I kind of had a feeling that could have been the case, and it looks to be the case currently. At lap 158 overall. Keselowski about 3/10 slower than the race leader Kyle Larson the last lap. And actually, Chastain was a little bit quicker that last lap than Kyle Larson as well. So Chastain coming up from seemingly nowhere, and he's trying to fight towards the front of the field. There we go. I've got the race back up. 6 laps to go in stage 1. Stage 2, sorry. Stage 2. 6 to go. Chastain slowly closing on Larson. 9 spots gained for Chastain since the restart. Most of any driver by far. So from 10th to 2nd. Got through all the drivers on those older left side tires very quickly. Same goes for Larson. Bell, Hamlin kind of mixing it up there. Some of the drivers that only took right sides. Bell should get by Keselowski, as he has just passed William Byron on the racetrack. Byron also stayed out to get 2. Remember, Byron, the only playoff driver that took 2 tires. Martin Truex Jr. back to 20th on this restart. So a lot has happened badly for that 19 car, and he's in danger of not getting stage points now in stage 2. Which actually, as we run, will put him below the cutoff line by 6 points to Bell, who is in 4th. Blaney minus 14 points as we run. Reddick minus 14, and then Buescher minus 22. Hamlin is plus 13. I mentioned Bell already plus 6. Larson obviously leading the race, and the winner of the first stage as well. So strong points day for Kyle Larson so far. William Byron plus 21 points. One second lead now for Larson over Chastain. 3 to go, stage 2. Bell did get by Keselowski. Denny Hamlin now going to get by Brad on the front stretch, and William Byron is catching up to Keselowski. Scuff's costing Brad a little bit of time. Not sure that he would have held on to the lead anyway with how quick the 5 and the 1 got through. Maybe could have held on to third. Still staying side by side with Denny Hamlin. Looked strong through turns 1 and 2 on that outside lane. Hamlin couldn't make the pass on the bottom. Hamlin just going to send it off into turns 3 and 4, driving it very deep into the corner. And clears Brad by about 3 or 4 plus car lengths. Byron to the back of the 6 now, as Brad seems to be struggling more in 3 and 4 than what he is in 1 and 2 on those scuffs on the right side of his race car. About a half a lap to go for Kyle Larson in Stage 2 at Las Vegas. He's about to sweep the first 2 stages of this round of 8 playoff race. If he can win, or any one of the other playoff drivers win, they will lock themselves into the championship for Phoenix in a few weeks. Larson, one of the stronger contenders in the playoffs this season, will come to the line and win Stage 2. His 7th stage win of the season. Ross Chastain second in this stage. Christopher Bell third. Denny Hamlin fourth. And Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 5 as he is able to hold on in front of William Byron, who finishes 6th in the stage. Kyle Busch 7th. Ryan Blaney 8th. Tyler Reddick 9th. And Bubba Wallace rounds out the top 10. So those drivers all receiving stage points here in stage number 2. We'll take a commercial break here, or an ad break on the stream. You're listening live on KRC to the South Point Casino 400 at Las Vegas. We'll have Stage 3 coverage coming for you guys shortly. Browns won 19-17. I noticed that I saw them kick a field goal that took the lead when I got up to go to the bathroom, and then I came out and I was like, oh, wow, the Browns are up 19-17. It looks like they held on. Unbelievable. I didn't think they had any shot. Deshaun Watson not playing today, and they were off to a slow start too. But yeah, great job. They beat, in my opinion, the best team in the league. Goes to show you can win any given Sunday. So Chris Buescher fell to 15th on that last restart, and then Martin Truex Jr. fell all the way back to 20th. Look at the owner's standing side of things. Chase Elliott's 22nd. It really hasn't been in the top 20 the whole race. As a backup car after wrecking the primary yesterday, which is a shame because the other Hendrick cars were in the top 10 all day. We even saw Bowman as high as third in the running order at one point very early in the race as well. But Chase Elliott in that backup car, we just haven't really seen him in the top 20 at all. And I say that's a shame because of how fast not only the other Hendrick cars were today, but Chase Elliott yesterday in practice had the fastest 15-lap average. While his teammates of the 5 and the 24 were the first and second place 5 and 10 lap average race cars in practice. So Elliott may be built better for the longer run, but we'll never get to see what that primary car could have been capable of in the race today because obviously it was wrecked with that blown right rear tire in turns 1 and 2 yesterday, right about 20 laps into that practice run. It's better that it happened there than in the race, but probably would have been better off if that hadn't happened at all, and that's the risk you pay of having that aggressiveness with the air pressure and the setup of the race car. Looking to see who has the fastest lap in the race today. It looks like our current race leader, Kyle Larson, holds the fastest lap with a 29.417. 183.567 mile per hour average. It was all the way back on lap 3. I believe that was the same lap he took the race lead away from Bell at the very beginning of the race today. Fastest 4-tire stop as well for Larson on that last pit stop, 9.7 seconds. Or at least faster than anybody else who was in the top 10. Or it would have mattered the most. We'll see if they can continue to have fast pit stops. We have seen that quite a bit out of the Hendrick Motorsport pit road camp all season. Primarily from the 24 team, but the 5 team, very, very competent on pit road as well.
If he could have married them and finished in high school, Bush likes during the pit stop. I'll bet he said, Bush. That's impressive. I love the length of that ceremony. These guys won't be on pit road that long, at least not their pit stalls, Kim.
And for Tyler Reddick, he said it was still tight entry ends there, but frees up on exit. Continuing to have tire. They used some good reports to determine on this race call. So we'll see when it's going to be 4 tires, Dave.
Eddie Hamlin said it was better in turns 1 and 2, so keep going that direction. He just wants 4 tires and fuel full. Marty?
A 20 valuable stage point to the bank for Kyle Larson. That the car is still too free and actually worse than it was the last run. Christopher Bell said he felt like the car wasn't bad, but early on, way too harsh to the bumps and a track race off his road. I think Bell may have won it. He didn't lead, but Bell was by inches over Ross Chastain.
Got a couple spots for Bell.
2-tire stop for Michael McDowell will put him up to 6th place. He was the only driver that took 2 tires. Everybody else with 4 on that stop. Leroy, thanks for tuning in to the stream as well. And you're listening live on this NASCAR YouTube channel, KRC as I like to call it, Keegan's Racing Channel, for your live commentary coverage of every NASCAR race that I don't go to in person for the NASCAR Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series. We'll have live commentary streams all throughout the rest of the year. No plans to go to any more races this season. So for all 3 series, Friday through Sunday, throughout the course of the rest of the weekend, or rest of the race weekends, we will have live commentary coverage right here on the channel for you. Sitting at 74 likes on the stream right now, so definitely be sure to hit that like button if you haven't yet. Way more votes in the poll. 173 votes. I appreciate you guys make that 174. 174 votes in the poll. So appreciate everybody that have voted in the poll. But we have 100 more people that voted in the poll than what we have likes on the stream. So definitely hit that like button, guys. It helps the streams out a ton. The 175, 176 votes. Appreciate everybody that did vote in the poll, though. We'll end that as we're at the end of stage 2 right now. Kyle Larson wins the poll at 44% of the votes. So Kyle Larson is your guys' pick as the fans to win the race today. Other at 29%. William Byron at 13%, 12% for Chris Buescher. Don't blame you for picking Larson today. He has looked like he has had the fastest car. And lost a little bit of track position, of course, on pit road there. He did win the first 2 stages, though. We'll see if he can get back to the lead. Christopher Bell, that number 1 pit box after qualifying on the pole, has allowed for himself to beat both the 1 and the 5 off pit road, gaining 2 positions to get to the lead. Chastain maintains in second, faster stop than Larson, but Larson lost a second that last pit stop compared to the stop before, 10.7. It was a 9.7 second stop late in stage 2. Larson had the slowest pit stop of anybody in the top 14 with 4 tires. And again, McDowell took 2. That's why I see 5.4 second stop for him. Taking the right sides only. Maybe conserving another set of tires there for that 34 team.
Take a look at the points today. As they've earned through 2 stages, Larson winning both has 20 points. Then it's Bell. Hamlin grabbed 11. Reddick 9, Blaney 8. Byron and Truex Jr. 6 each.
Despite the confidence that the 45 team of Tyler Reddick had this morning when I talked to him, we're really happy to see that on track today. That's because the balance of Tyler's car hasn't been to his liking. He said now he's driving it less like a loose race car. Since it's taking that swing, they told him to make his straightaways a little bit longer, Dave.
Yeah, Mark Truex Jr. and crew chief James Small took this caution to talk about the race car. It's going both directions. Mark's very frustrated. Won't handle the traffic, Marty.
Kyle Larson say was so impressive, but is Cliff Daniels thinking that the damage they had, which was very minimal, is affecting the handling of the car? Listen. So, Steve, would that make sense to you? That wall contact wasn't big, but it could be affecting the car.
Well, Cliff Daniels knows these cars as well as anyone, so if he feels there's a chance it could, I think he knows what he's doing. The bright side, if that's the damage, because that car could easily have been jumped. It could have been a replay of other guys' issues in the playoffs, but they still have a chance, even if the car has slight damage.
Could be the best.
Down to 96 laps to go as the green flag is back in the air. Christopher Bell leads the field to the green on that inside lane. Great push from Brad Keselowski will allow for Bell to pull clear into the first turn. Chastain and Keselowski still side by side for second place, though, and 3 wide again, right around where Joey Logano's at in the pack. It's actually, I think it might be Kyle Busch. In the 8 on the outside, it is. It's Busch trying to clear McDowell on those older left side tires. Blaney to the outside of the 34 should get by him through 3 and 4 as well. Kyle Busch has been creeping around the top 10 all day. He scored 7th at the start-finish line that time by at the line. Bell in the middle groove. Chastain all the way up near the wall through 1 and 2 on the outside of the racetrack, trying to get as much clean air and momentum, getting as close to that wall as possible without touching it. Byron, Hamlin side by side for position as well, battling for 5th. Chastain closes again on Bell through 3 of 4. Looks like Chastain's car a little bit looser than Bell. He's getting a slight bit better drive off as a result of that. Bell maybe not able to carry as much mid-corner speed. And Chastain running a slightly wider line is allowing for himself to stay up on the outside. Chastain having a bit of a moment as he wiggled the car in 1 and 2. It looked like he was gaining in the center of the corner on Bell, was going to have a run on him down the back, but had that little wiggle, costing him time. He'll move off the wall a little bit, now more towards the middle. Gives him more leeway from the outside wall if he were to have a slight wiggle. Still closes on Bell again. Bell's got the track position for right now, but it's going to be tough to play defense on a multi-groove racetrack like this. He's doing the best he can for the time being. Off turn 2, Christopher Bell still about a car length ahead of Chastain. Christopher Bell also has more company behind him. Chastain looking at the 6th car out of his rear view. As Keselowski now within a couple car lengths of both of those cars in front of him. Kyle Larson obviously very close behind the 6 as well. Chastain looking to the inside as he goes off the wall this time. Still trying to catch clean air. And he's going to lose a bit of ground to Bell. He's going to carry a slight bit more straightaway speed down the back. That really allowed for Bell to widen that gap out quite a bit. Chastain goes back down to the bottom again through 3 of 4, and that time he put himself in dirty air. So it took Bell a few laps to get going, but maybe now starting to settle in a bit. Martin Truex Jr. close to the outside wall. Never touched it, though, off turn 4 as he's still battling in the back of the pack. Currently sitting in 18th, which is surprising when you consider the fact very early in the race, Truex looked like he had one of the better cars in the field right there with Bell and Larson in stage 1. Lost track position by staying out of the pits there late in that first stage. Cost him some stage points there. Cost him stage points, obviously, in stage 2 as they could never get back into the top 10. And now he loses even more ground in that late stage restart as well, and the restart to begin stage 3, and now he's in 18th. And is definitely struggling with the handling of his car. Chris Buescher back to 20th has also lost a ton of positions since the middle going of the race as he was hovering between positions 6 and 8 for the longest time. But constant losses on pit road for that 17 team is starting to bite themselves a little bit in the behind as they are 11.5 seconds for that last pit stop for 4 tires. And the majority of the cars in front of him had sub-11-second stops. Which are not taking great control. The restart's very difficult. Middle of the pack. So everybody's dealing with that same dirty air, so you just got to deal with it a little bit better, I guess. Larson not running the outside of the racetrack right now. And I think a lot of these teams trying to save their tires. By not running the outside of the racetrack, you tend to use more of the tires, but as the fall off starts to build, there's going to be more grip up there longer in the run than earlier in the run. We were seeing a qualifying yesterday where the teams were starting to go more wide open all the way through the corner, so obviously the shortest way would be the fastest way if you were able to do that. As the tires fall off over the course of the longer run, we are definitely see them having to change their lanes over the course of a longer green flag run, which we've seen quite a few today. The cautions have been spaced out and fairly few and far between to this point with 87 laps to go. The second stage break was only our 5th caution of the day. We've had 3 for incident. Both the Legacy Motor Club cars having right rear tires go down, and then a problem for Alex Bowman late in stage 2 as well, which has knocked him out of the race. Hocevar's out. Those are the only 2 drivers that are no longer in the race today. The other 34 are still on the lead lap. So the top 10 following this most recent restart scores Christopher Bell in the race lead. Ross Chastain is second. He is 0.6 of a second back. Brad Keselowski's 0.9 of a second off the lead in third. Kyle Larson is 1.6 seconds back in fourth. And William Byron in fifth, 2.1 seconds off the lead. Denny Hamlin in sixth, 2.4 seconds off the lead. Kyle Busch is in seventh, 2.8 seconds off the lead. Ryan Blaney in eighth place, 3.1 seconds back. Tyler Reddick in ninth, 4.5 seconds behind Bell. And 5.2 seconds off the lead is Joey Logano. Rather, 4.8 seconds back is Logano at the line that last time. Joey is in 10th. Truex still losing spots. Chase Briscoe just got around him, and now Truex is back to 19th place. Chris Buescher also looking to battle the 19 car. Buescher looking to the inside of Truex through turns 3 and 4. And clears him easily. I mean, Martin Truex Jr. is struggling mightily with his race car right now. A shell of what that car was capable of in the first half of the race today. Not looking the same. And as we update the point standings based off of where everybody is running and the stage points scored in the first 2 stages of the race today, Christopher Bell leading would be obviously in the championship 4 if he wins. William Byron plus 19 points. Kyle Larson plus 17. Denny Hamlin plus 14 would be the last driver above that cutoff line currently. Martin Truex Jr. minus 14. Tyler Reddick minus 21. Ryan Blaney minus 22. And Chris Buescher minus 35 points. He also struggled to get stage points in stage 1 and stage 2, much like Truex. So the only difference is Truex won the regular season championship, had a lot more playoff points than Buescher. They both had the same amount of wins in the regular season of 3, but obviously a much better regular season points finish there for the 19 than the 17. And he was able to get some stage points in stage 1. Truex was at least. Buescher did not get any in either of the first 2 stages. Full screen commercial break right now on NBC for those of you watching live. Actually, it's a side-by-side break, but it's a break nonetheless. We'll take a break of our own here. You're listening live on KRC, this NASCAR YouTube channel. We'll continue our flag-to-flag coverage here for the rest of the race. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not yet. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers on the channel, trying to get there before the end of the NASCAR season. And try to get to at least 100 likes on the stream today as well, as we are about 18 away. Everybody's still going to have to pit one more time, at least in the race, maybe more depending on if we see any cautions in the final stage. Ross Chastain starting to close in on Christopher Bell at the front of the field once again. 2 laps ago, he was actually a couple tenths quicker than Bell. That last lap, Bell was a tenth quicker than Chastain, with Chastain getting closer now to the back of the 20. The dirty air is maybe hurting him a little worse. Keselowski still within a second of the lead in third as well. So again, the top 5 currently still as Bell leading, Chastain second, Keselowski third, Kyle Larson in fourth, and William Byron is fifth. All within 1.9 seconds of the lead as well. Still pretty tight, as we are about 17 to 18 laps into this green flag run to begin stage 3. Byron and Hamlin battling on track for 5th. Hamlin took a look to the inside through 1 and 2, but could not stay underneath the 24. Now Hamlin widens his groove out to the middle, Byron to the bottom, so those switch lanes from where they were running on the other side of the racetrack. Hamlin going to carry some speed now in the tri-oval as he closes to the back of the 24. And we'll see if he has enough of a run to maybe make another move to the bottom in 1 and 2. He's pulling there. He's going to look. Byron goes down to try to squeeze the 11. Up off the exit of turn 2. Hamlin's underneath of Byron. Pulls away from him for now. He'll go up and side draft him before entering into 3. Hamlin driving it in deep. He is clear of Byron. Byron goes all the way up to the outside. He's going to try a crossover move off the exit of the corner if he can carry more straightaway speed on the front stretch. Try to slingshot Hamlin into turn 1, but I don't think he was going to be able to do it. Chastain back to the top. He went to the bottom lane and started to lose ground on Bell. Now he's gone back to the outside again. He's starting to get that ground back. that he was getting initially on that last restart. Remember, Chastain only has one win this year, and it was all the way back in the middle going into the year at Nashville in June. In middle of October, Chastain looking for another win before the season's out. He's got a run on Bell, gets to his back bumper. One to the outside. He had a chance to get to the inside of Bell, but he really didn't want to run down there. And he carried too much speed on corner entry that he almost got into the wall, had to lift, and Keselowski's underneath him on the back straightaway. Side by side for second, so Chastain loses more ground after closing quick on Christopher Bell. Chastain rips around the outside, though stays in front of Keselowski. Larson now to the inside of the 6 on the front stretch after Brad failed to get around the 1. Larson for third into turn 1. To the bottom. Keselowski in the middle. Pinches the 5 down on the white line. Still door-to-door for third off of turn 2. Chastain gaining ground on Bell again within a few tenths of a second of the lead. Larson into turn 3, trying to carry as much speed on corner entry as he can. Slides up the hill. Still can't clear the 6 of Keselowski as they run tightly off turn 4. And Keselowski cleared at the start-finish line as well. Larson's going to have to set up and try this move again. Lost a lot of ground that time off turn 4. May have had to lift to keep it off the 6. Tight battles up inside the top 5 here in the late going of today's South Point Casino 400. Chastain back to within a couple tenths of Christopher Bell. Continues to get close to the back bumper, but just can't make a move on him. I think he had enough to get to the inside, but he just didn't trust his car in the bottom enough. And just carried too much speed on the outside. Bell definitely left the inside open for him. And I think if Chastain gets another chance at it, if he can get to the inside of Bell, he's going to try it again. Ryan Blaney passing William Byron on the track for 6. Hamlin also moved into the top 5 a few laps ago to 5th. And Byron is slowly fading throughout the top 10, kind of similar to what he was doing all the way back at stage 1. Well, Chastain and Bell in the middle groove. I think Chastain's car is capable of outrunning Bell on the outside. But I think Chastain is continuing to shift his line in the middle of the corner, trying to make sure that Bell just doesn't run the outside to take Chastain's line away, knowing how bad Chastain's car is when he tries to run the bottom, if I had to guess. Now Bell goes to the outside that time. Chastain more towards the middle in turns 1 and 2. And it does seem like Bell carried a bit more straightaway speed as a result. Chastain back to the top. Now, Bell tends to run the bottom lane through 3 and 4 all the way on the white line, a little bit more consistent than what he does in turns 1 and 2. Denny Hamlin, by the way, that last lap was the fastest car on the racetrack. Actually, no, sorry, Ryan Blaney in 6th was the fastest car on the track that last lap. Hamlin the second quickest back in 5th and 6th. So both those two starting to turn it on after they got by the 24 of Byron. Their cars have come to life. Another 31-1 for Blaney again that last lap, which was quicker than each of the top 3, including Hamlin, but Larson was the quickest on the track that last lap in 4th. So a lot of trading of lap times ran right now within the top 6 positions on the racetrack, and the fact that all 6 of those cars are within 1.6 seconds of each other is huge. That means, just pitting one lap early could be the difference in them gaining a few spots and maybe getting to the lead and not. So who will be the first car to come to pit road? As we're probably within 10 to 15 laps away from the final pit stops of the day. 0.3 of a second difference between Bell and Chastain still. Larson to the inside of Keselowski for third. And again, Brad really pinching the 5 down into the bumps in 1 and 2. Chastain up wide, almost into the wall. 3 wide off turn 2 for second. Chastain made a big mistake again on the outside groove in 1 and 2. He's going to lose at least 2 spots. Hamlin's going to get underneath him for fourth as well. Showing a replay there. Chastain in the middle groove. Bell had him in the dirty air. Chastain barely kept it off the wall, but had to lift significantly. Lost a ton of time. Keselowski is now in second. Larson third. Hamlin, Chastain battling for fourth with Blaney right behind both of them. All still within 1.7 seconds of the lead with 65 laps to go in the race. We'll go through the full field running order once again, while the battle for second is really heating up. Bell leads. Keselowski is in second. Larson third. Chastain fourth. Denny Hamlin fifth. Ryan Blaney sixth. William Byron seventh. Kyle Busch in eighth. Tyler Reddick ninth. Joey Logano 10th. Ty Gibbs in 11th. Harvick 12th. Wallace 13th. Almirola 14th. Truex Jr. in 15th. Michael McDowell 16th. Austin Dillon 17th. Chris Buescher 18th. Austin Cindric 19th. Daniel Suarez in 20th. Corey LaJoie 21st. Ryan Preece 22nd. Chase Elliott 23rd. Chase Briscoe 24th, AJ Allmendinger 25th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 26th, Justin Haley 27th, Harrison Burton 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, Todd Gilliland 30th, Eric Jones in 31st, 32nd is J.J. Yaley, Brendan Poole 33rd, B.J. McLeod 34th, and then 2 cars out of the race today, Alex Bowman will finish 35th, Carson Hocevar 36th. Still 34 cars on the lead lap at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we are cutting closer and closer to the end of the race here today. Again, still awaiting the final pit stop of the day as we are getting very, very close to seeing pit road open. We are up to 87 likes on the stream, so also be sure to hit that like button if you haven't yet. Try to get to 100 here before the end of the day. Blaney going to get by Denny Hamlin for 5th place through turns 3 and 4. He's all clear. Ryan Blaney might be the best car on the racetrack right now. And he gets by Chastain, who almost got into the wall again off turn 4. Had to lift, and he blocks Hamlin on the front stretch. Hamlin gets underneath him as he cut to the apron at about the start-finish line, and Denny Hamlin clears. So Chastain's struggling right now. Overdriving the race car twice in the last couple laps and 3 times already in stage 3. He was right behind Bell battling for the lead, and now he's all the way back in 6th. Although he did get back by Hamlin through 1 and 2. Hamlin, though, again will sneak underneath him through 3 and 4, and they'll be side by side. So allow Blaney to really pull away from those 2 cars behind him. Larson is still within a couple tenths of Keselowski. He has not been able to pass him, and he has struggled to pass the 6 for most of the day. We saw that late in stage 2. It took him forever to finally get by Keselowski. Really took Keselowski putting scuffs on the car, which allowed for Larson to finally get around him on a late restart when Larson took 4 tires. But when they're on equal tires, the 5 has definitely been having fits with the 6 car. Hamlin clears Chastain off turn 4. Byron closing in on the 1 car now. And Christopher Bell, the pole sitter from this race, is currently a race leader. Kyle Larson, who has led the most laps with 80 laps led and won the first 2 stages of the race, is in 3rd. Bell has led the second most laps with 60 laps led now. He's led 5 different times. Same goes for Larson. Has been up inside the top 5 all day, but hadn't looked like the fastest car, but he does have the track position, that winning battle off pit road, and he's been able to stay in the lead ever since. Doesn't have the fastest car, but he's got a fast car, and that is capable of keeping himself up towards the front. William Byron closing on Chastain off turn 2. They're going to battle for 6th place into 3 and 4, it appears. Chastain down into the bottom lane. William Byron right on the bottom in front of, or behind him, I should say. Larson Keselowski going to battle for 2nd. We've got a spinner off of turn 2. It is Chase Briscoe in the 14. Looks like he's got both his right sides flat there. That might have been in the lockdown. But the caution flag is out for the 6th time today. Again, Chase Briscoe has spun in turn 2.
tires here as he's going to work his way back to pit road. Right rear, right front, both are down as Briscoe's going to make his way back, or at least try to.
Steve, right at the time where you were talking about it being a very strange place. Here we go. As far as pits go, here he is just way up the racetrack, trying to get on the outside of Allmendinger, kind of the wall and then contact also.
He gets into Stenhouse there, and Stenhouse goes up, makes a little contact with the wall. And luckily, as it comes down the track, a lot of oncoming traffic you're really going to have to worry about.
And we talk about the battle, back in the field. That shows you right there. I mean, they're racing for 23rd, 24th place. This is a exceptionally competitive series. These guys are only running like a tenth of a second, 2/10 of the leaders, right? And that's how competitive. It gets stretched down to the restart, and everybody is so close on speed.
Here comes Briscoe. He's going to come onto pit road. Pit road's closed, but it doesn't matter. He's going to get his tires changed on the 14. There was some damage to the 47. He got into the wall as well. We saw a little bit of right side damage. Not sure to what extent that will be. But Steve, this puts everybody into their window now.
So you can make it from here on fuel, so for sure you're pitting. I think they have a couple sets left. So if you get another yellow, you might pit again, but you have an extra lap right here with pit road closed. You take your time, really have a good conversation with your driver on what you need, both in the short run and the long run, with that final adjustment we talked about a minute ago.
Well, and this is when a spotlight gets shined so brightly on this cruise. You cannot make a mistake. We've seen the 16 and Brad Keselowski, their crew, they have been wonderful today. And Christopher Bell, who's out front, expecting a great stop out of his team as well. And again, this is just the first race of the round of 8. Next week, it's off to Homestead, Miami.
This is Miami. The beaches, the palm trees. But at 180 miles per hour, with your biggest rivals breathing down your neck and a championship on the line, it's no time to relax. What do you say, fellas? Can you handle the heat? The NASCAR playoffs continue at Miami on NBC.
And we take a look at the points now as they run. And Bell out front. And then a 10-point gap between Hamlin and Truex Jr. So Truex Jr., who started above the cut line, down below. And Steve, you had pointed it out. It's not so much how many points you gain, but you don't want to lose points. And Buescher has been kind of on the losing side today when it comes to gaining as many points as possible.
Some running better than the other, but our worst one is 16th with so many cars in the lead lap. An issue on one of these final restarts could really set you behind.
Yeah.
If we're trying to break the set cars off, okay, but then built a little bit of a tick free. No major changes on that car. The call for tires to go fuel, Dave.
Ryan Blaney stopping short. That's his move that worked last time. He needs it to be just about a half a number tighter this run.
Marty Powers and Bill Cliff Daniels felt like it was the best we were on the long run all day long. Feel like they need a little bit more turn, especially if this is a run to the end of the race. Christopher Bell told Adam Stevens, I don't want any changes. We'll see if the pit crew can deliver. They got the lead last time. It's going to be a drag race off the road, and then we'll lose a couple of spots this time for Christopher Bell.
Stop for the 5 team. Kyle Larson, that's how he won his championship a couple years back. Keselowski holding his spot there. As you see just how close it was coming off pit road.
So Kyle Larson going to be back in the lead once again on the ensuing restart after winning the race off of pit road by inches over Brad Keselowski. Really the one area of the track he's been able to pass the 6 car has been on pit road or just having overall fresher tires than him. Goes to show that there is quite a bit of speed in the 6 if he could just get out in front of the 5 on this restart. But again, having that controlled pace, getting through that Geico restart zone should help the 5 team just enough. And we'll see if this is also going to be the final pit stop of the race today, considering they are within the fuel window to make it to the end of the race. If we see another caution, I'm sure everybody will hit pit road for tires again. But if we don't have another caution. This is definitely going to be the final stop. And who will have the best long-run car when it matters the most as we're getting down to crunch time in the South Point 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Good race so far today, and I'm sure we're awaiting an even better finish to this race. Let's get closer to the end. So J.J. Yaley stayed out of the pits, but I think he's going to end up pitting sometime before they go green, which would give Larson the lead on our leaderboard. So Yaley out in front for right now, leading a couple laps under the caution. Maybe going to pit when nobody else is down there. So Briscoe a couple laps down after his incident. I believe his day is done. Surprised we never got an interview at all from either Hocevar, Bowman, from their incidences earlier today. And then hopefully we get one from Chase Briscoe. If we do, you guys will obviously get to listen in. You're at 54 laps remaining. And we are up to 93 likes, I do believe, on the stream. Yep, 93. So we need to get 7 more to get to 100. Almost said a hundo and 100 at the same time. That sounded weird. 100 is the magic number that we're trying to get to here. John Barber, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate your commentary. Best on YouTube. Appreciate that. Yeah, so once Yaley pits, assuming he pits, yeah, there he goes. He's on pit road. So there we go. So Kyle Larson out in front of the field, followed by Keselowski, Bell, Chastain, Hamlin, Byron. They'll be in the front 3 rows for the next restart.
Remember, the pit crews change. Listen to the 20 car. When he goes to leave, I feel like the pit crew has a pretty good stop. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. So especially as the rear tires trying to make traction. He just did not launch very well. Right there, the tires are spinning. The car's not going forward at the rate that you need it to go. So here you see driver time, just a little bit off. Pit time, just a little bit off. That is 2 spots. And that could be the difference between winning this race and not.
And Jeff, if he was at Charlotte Motor Speedway or another mile and a half, the timing line is almost right in front of pit stall 1. But here in Las Vegas, he still has to go a pretty good ways out of his box, making that issue even a bigger deal.
So Larson on the inside of row 1, Keselowski to the outside, green flag back in the air. Keselowski not much of a push from behind. Almost looked like Chastain on the outside of row 2 was laying back a bit. And then he got the push from behind him from Denny Hamlin, but it still wasn't enough and allowed for Larson to clear into turns 1 and 2. 4 wide off turn 2, 5 wide now as they work their way down the backstretch. 3 by 3 as they funnel to turn 3. Logano, Chastain, Byron 3 wide, and then you got Busch, Hamlin, Reddick 3 wide behind them, and then also 3 wide behind them is I believe Austin Dillon. I can't tell who else is in that mess. It looks like Ryan Blaney also back there. Car in the wall off turn 2, and this is going to bring out a caution. Ty Gibbs in the 54 has brushed the wall. He has gotten off of it. He's up against it for a long time, I think, waiting for traffic to clear underneath him, but the yellow flag is out quickly. Our 7th caution of the race, and there goes the right front. So that's why he was in the wall. The right front tire was coming off, and it didn't actually come off until the next corner. Rim bouncing around towards pit road. So the right front tire of Ty Gibbs' race car comes off, and that puts us under caution with 50 laps left.
Right here. And the car just takes off the racetrack. He ran over something right there. You see the car
See, watch this car. Or this is a right front wheel issue. This is a right, it's not tight.
I think that's a right front wheel falling off.
Yeah.
Getting to the end of the smell.
Yeah, I think this whole thing started because it wasn't tight.
How about this? It ended with the wheel coming off, so at some point. And the center still in the wheel is what I thought, right? Because the outside looks good.
Yeah, the whole wheel comes off.
Yeah.
I mean, so the whole wheel came off, the nut could not be on it.
There you go. Look at this. And there it comes.
Yeah, the center section's in the wheel.
Yeah, there's a great shot of you, right?
Yeah, so that means the nut.
Yeah, the logo was not on.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a right side stop, so, on the left side, they drop the jack and the car would leave you, maybe you were having a bit of an issue. On the right side, what we see time and time again, and I feel confident it's probably what happened here in the 54, is one of two things. Either the car got dropped as the limit was tightening up and therefore doesn't pull up tight enough, or the second thing is you can actually get these wheels indexed a little funny and they're just sitting on that pin and you can tighten the wheel up against it and you don't even know that the thing isn't pushed all the way on, Marty.
Steve, obvious from the replay, but I did confirm with the team. Right front lockdown was not on for Ty Gibbs, and frustrated because they had a top 10 run going. Another great run for Ty Gibbs, and that team going to have to push him back here, and they're bringing him back down pit road. But the damage doesn't seem that severe, actually.
So I think the bodywork's not severe. I just don't know about the suspension. It's been a busy day. We saw it start practice with issues, and it carried on in the race. The 43 of Eric Jones has a flat right rear tire, guys. Same as the 9 and the 99 in practice. Then his teammate.
Yeah, Hosevar has an issue getting into the wall right there. So spinning the car around here, a lot of damage to the right rear, knocks him out of the race. 14 to Chase Briscoe. In the wall, around he goes. And I thought the 54 blew a right front tire, but the wheels actually hung off the car, so he goes into the wall right here.
I like that. We're going to slide that one over a category. End result a tire, but we're going to find the blame a little different. That's fair.
Yeah, this 54 car, Ty Gibbs, he's had a solid year. He really has. He's been in position to win some races, had a good run going today. I think it's going to, keeping Ty as a young driver, keeping him focused is going to be the goal for these next 3 races and heading into next year. You've done a nice job. Some improvements can be made, but this team next year, I think, will be a threat to win some races.
And after these repairs, they'll be held a couple laps because when the wheel comes off on the racetrack, it's a couple lap penalty this year.
We'll be back for the restart.
Kyle Larson out in front of the field once again here under caution with 48 laps still remaining. Don't expect any pit stops to happen as they only had about a lap in or so under green before that caution came out, but Larson was able to get to the lead on that restart ahead of Keselowski just as they came off pit road 1-2 as well. We'll take another quick ad break here and then get back to the rest of the Stage 3 action. You're listening live on KRC. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're just over 250 subscribers away from 5,000 on the channel. Let's try to get there before the season's up. It's cutting it pretty close. Hopefully we can get there as we only have a few weeks left to go in the NASCAR season. But appreciate you guys tuning in for another Sunday afternoon nonetheless. And hopefully stay tuned to the end of the race. Yep, definitely going to see some suspensions from some of the members of that Ty Gibbs pit crew, which the right front tire had come off the car. Not quite an early off-season because they'll still have one race left when they come back. They'll have a 2-week vacation, and then they'll come back for 1 week, and then they'll have like a 3-month vacation. Probably all unpaid. Well, the off-season, I don't know if they get paid through the off-season or not. I would imagine you only get paid in season based off your contract. But granted, the drivers and some of the other personnel may be under contract. I don't know about like people in the shop. They might still work week to week throughout the off-season. I feel like they do because they don't travel with the team to the track. I think they're only designated X amount of personnel at the track on the weekend. I think it's like 15 15 members per team, but that's like counting pit crew and all that other stuff. Driver, spotter, crew chief, car chief. I think it's 15.
From Joey Logano mentioning how important he feels it is and what a benefit. You get a couple extra weeks to prepare for that Phoenix race. Larson right now out in front of the field.
And Rick, sitting here, my anxiety is building. I'm sure the crew chiefs on pit road are doing the same thing. So much work went into the whole season to make the playoffs. You made the playoffs. You got all the way to the round of 8. You've had good days or bad days. And now if you're Larson, you're in position. Bell in position. Byron, all having good days. I hate restarts. I feel like there's so much out of my control as a crew chief.
Morning.
Rick William Byron has dealt with a loose race car for most of the day, especially on that last run. But on the last stop, Rudy Fugle took a massive swing at the car. Byron radioed after that very short run, Kim, and said it's much better. We'll see if Byron can get a couple of spots and maybe sweep the year here in Vegas.
Well, Marty, Joey Logano having a very solid day, running into 6th position currently. And Paul Wolf told me they historically have been so good at this racetrack, so their expectations are high despite not being great on intermediate tracks this year. They brought a similar setup to what they walked with last year. First half of the race, Dave, they were tight. Now they're trending to the loose side.
Talking about the round of 8 earlier today, Chris Gabehart and Hamilton told me it will take explosivity. Now, I don't know if that's really a word, but what he meant was it's all taken this round to get to the championship 4. That's what Denny's going to have to do here. He's really good over precision, long 40 or 50 lap runs, but if we get the short cautions at the end, he's going to have to ramp up the explosivity.
Word sounds good to me, Dave. I'd go with it.
I mean, listen, I think of a word every once in a while.
Well, it gets your point across. Explosivity is very descriptive, as Larson has chosen that inside line once again. Keselowski will be on the outside. Larson will be getting a push from the 20 of Bell, and we'll see how hard Ross Chastain pushes the 6 of Keselowski.
We haven't talked lane choice much today, guys. Is there a lane you prefer over there?
I kind of like the outside, just having the momentum off turn 2. 3 non-playoff drivers in the top 6.
45 laps to go. Larson leads him into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Seen Larson in this position so many times up at the front late in the race, but can he seal the deal? Sometimes he does, but most of the time it seems he doesn't. We'll see how clutch he'll come today when it matters the most this late in the season. 4 wide again through turns 1 and 2. About the third different time we've seen that today. Near contact around Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola. Blaney on the inside losing a bunch of positions on the backstretch. Will launch himself into turn 3 on the bottom. Trying to pull back clear of Harvick and Almirola to his outside. Going to be able to clear the 4. Almost gets into the side of the 10 car. As they're still door-to-door now through the tri-oval. Larson was easily clear of Keselowski off turn 4 by about 3 or 4 car lengths. Still carries the race lead through turns 1 and 2. Keselowski still remains in second as well. Christopher Bell, William Byron, 3rd and 4th. As they battle for position. Byron trying to creep closer. Another quick pit stop, gaining a couple spots there and a couple more on the restart for the 24. Trying to block the 1 of Chastain. Thought Chastain still had enough momentum to get to the outside, but I guess he didn't. Chastain back on that outside lane. He's been one of the drivers that have been up there all day today. Not quite all the way up near the wall like he was a little earlier in the race when he was running in second and trying to get by Bell for the lead earlier in this final stage. Denny Hamlin losing some spots. He was up 3rd through 5th for a lot of the first half of the race, but now back in 8th and really hasn't been back in the top 5 at all here in stage 3. Kyle Busch going to get by Hamlin and drop Denny back to 9th on the restart. Logano, who hasn't really been anywhere near the front of the field, has also kind of all of a sudden moved forward. See, is battling Reddick for 6th. Ryan Blaney falling to 10th on that last restart. Kyle Busch going to get by Joey Logano through 3 and 4, and Busch is now going to move up to 8th place. So Kyle gets 2 spots that lap, 1 on Hamlin in 1 and 2, then around Logano through 3 and 4. Busch going for another spot underneath Reddick through 1 and 2. He'll get underneath him. He's not going to complete the pass, though. Kyle Busch moving forward at his home track. Born and raised Las Vegas, Nevada. And he has gained 3 positions now in 2 laps. Clears Reddick off turn 4. Busch up to 6th. Restart lane violation for Chase Elliott, who finally made his way up to 16th, as high as he has been in the running order all day today. He'll have to make a pass-through penalty, which is going to drop him off the lead lap. The only good news in with that is that he would get the free pass if we get another caution, because he'll be the only driver 1 lap down, but obviously we'll take him out of any sort of a chance at a pretty decent finish unless we get multiple cautions here to the end of the race that could allow him to gain more time back. But once again, we've seen the final pit stop today if we don't get a caution. And right now, Kyle Larson, who's been the fastest on the track through most of the day, is back in the lead and carries a 1-second advantage over Brad Keselowski in 2nd place. Christopher Bell again in 3rd, William Byron 4th, and Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5. 39 laps to go at Las Vegas. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. battle for position. Battling for 12th are those 2 cars. Truex in the playoffs, Harvick is not. 3 more races in Kevin Harvick's NASCAR Cup career. 10 this season, then we'll be listening to him in the Fox booth starting next season alongside Mike Joy and Clint Boyer. Harvick holding Truex pretty tightly down to the bottom through 1 and 2 again. Harvick basically trying to get as close to the bottom as he can with a car underneath him, I think is what he's just trying to do right now. We know Harvick to run in the bottom as much as possible, but not going up towards that outside. You got the Mobil 1 colors on the car, but kind of weird seeing like the green and white, I think Busch Light colors or whatever it is on the side of the car. It doesn't really match the black of the Mobil 1, but definitely a different scheme for this weekend. Showing Chase Elliott's restart violation. And he moved to the outside a little early. It did almost look like he was holding back, trying to get a run, and just kind of mistimed it. Maybe checked up a little bit more in front of him. This is definitely borderline. Surprised they called it, but they've been consistent with that call today. We saw A.J. Allmendinger have a similar situation earlier in the race, and Chase Elliott obviously now later a little bit worse. Allmendinger able at least to come back from a lap down earlier in the day, and currently AJ's 21st, Chase Elliott 32nd. Harvick and Truex have been side by side for about 3 laps now. Chris Buescher to the outside of both of them through 3 and 4, carrying the momentum. Harvick side drafting Truex in the tri-oval, and Buescher's going to clear them both easily into turn 1. I'm sure Truex is not happy at the 4 cars racing him as hard as he is right now, because they're now both losing positions. Buescher to 12th. Harvick is clear of Truex and cuts straight to the bottom of the racetrack at 3 and 4. Truex gets tight immediately, has to lift. He should be able to hang on to 13th, but obviously not where Truex wants to be right now. 14th place, sorry, for Truex. Looking at having 8 straight finishes outside the top 10 if Truex can't get back up there. In fact, a 14th would be his best finish in that 8 race stretch if he ends up finishing there. We still have 34 to go. Daniel Suarez right behind him. And a backup car starting to close in as well. And then Michael McDowell behind Suarez outside the top 15. A 1.9 second, make that 2 second lead now for Kyle Larson over Brad Keselowski in stage 3. As Kyle Larson really putting that power down. Ran a 30.598 that last lap. It was the fastest of anybody on the racetrack. His fastest lap of the race was still all the way back on lap 3. A lot of the drivers inside the top 10 did run their fastest laps of the race very early. Obviously, Larson on lap 3. And then also for Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron in the top 10, they also ran their fastest lap of the race on lap 2. The only driver in the top 10 to have his fastest lap in the final stage was Joey Logano on this most recent restart, and he is sitting in 9th. The lap times between the race leader Kyle Larson that last lap, and if we go all the way back to position number 10, Denny Hamlin, only a 0.3 of a second difference in that last lap between the top 10 cars. That's how equal they are. It's what this next-gen car makes capable of with the spec chassis. Allows for a lot more closeness, I guess, from top to bottom of the field. I mean, even BJ McLeod all the way back at 31st, 9/10 of a second off the race leader Larson that last lap. So only 9/10 of a second separating the first car through the 31st place car, and that's part of the reason why we've seen so many cars stay on the lead lap throughout the course of this race today. Longest green flag run was the very start of the race, leading up to just after lap 60 before we had the first caution. We actually had green flag pit stops in stage 1. It's the only time we had green flag stops, and because of which we have seen that many cars obviously stay in the lead lap ever since. Saw a handful of drivers get lapped in that first stage, but they took the wave around, all got back on the lead lap, and haven't really seen anybody go lap down in a long while off of natural race speed. Larson 2.2 seconds ahead of Keselowski. Although the lap times between the 6 and the 5 that time a little bit closer than what it was several laps before that. Brad was only about 15 one-thousandths of a second slower. Kyle Busch is moving through the field pretty good right now as he lurks to the outside of Chastain. Will pass him cleanly on the front stretch, clear him into turn 1, and Busch is now in the top 5 for the first time this afternoon. Or maybe since at least the initial start when he qualified 6th today. Kyle Busch up in the top 5 late at Vegas. Looking for a strong showing at his home track. Still his first season at RCR. Maybe not as successful as he would have hoped, comparing to how he started the year off. Very strong. Good run at the Roval last week to get a top 5, but unfortunately couldn't hang on to get that win, which would have put him in the round of 8. So he was eliminated from the playoffs in the last race. Ty Gibbs back on pit road again, another issue. We continue to stay green as he's on the apron, well out of the way of the racing line. The right front tire is about to come off that car again. I think it's going flat this time, though, because they ran about 20 green flag laps or more since the last pit stop, but obviously they didn't get the fender pulled out enough, or something was not fixed on that right front from the last time he was on pit road when the right front tire came off to where he was that time. Keselowski quicker that last lap than Larson. Larson, of course, had an incident earlier in the day. Not necessarily an incident that caused a caution, but he lost a few positions when he got super loose. And the right rear of his race car kind of tagged the outside wall. Really, that was what saved him from going all the way around and spinning off turn 2. And ever since then, he's been complaining about a slightly looser car than what he had earlier in the day. That looser car was fast enough to obviously still carry him to the lead, and a pretty big lead at that on this restart. But was he saving his tires for the long run? Because he had stretched that lead out to 2.2 seconds, but now all of a sudden, Brad Keselowski is only a second and a half off the lead, and Brad has been faster than Larson the last 5 or 6 laps. We're at 24 laps to go, and he's got plenty of time to still run him down. Bell and Keselowski going to battle for second place on the racetrack, so it's not just Keselowski that's running down Larson. Bell is also. But if they battle each other enough, then they'll also start to burn each other's equipment out and may save Larson. Kyle Busch to Byron for 4th to the inside. Easily clear off turn 4. Busch is now up to 4th place, and Kyle Busch has been the fastest car on the racetrack the last several laps. The problem is he's still 4.7 seconds off the race lead, and there's only 23 laps to go. He doesn't have a lot of time to get back up there. But the long run speed on this run in particular looks to be headed Kyle Busch's direction. Showing Ryan Blaney on screen, battling Tyler Reddick for 7th on the racetrack. Everyone knows the tail. Looked like Blaney went up the hill quite a bit in 1 and 2, lost some ground on Reddick. Bell back to the inside of Keselowski. A very low exit for the 20 of Bell. He is clear. And now Christopher Bell leads. He's chasing the leader, Kyle Larson. Yeah, the 6 and the 20 were closing in on the 5. Then they started racing each other. They fell to about 2 seconds off the lead again. But now Bell is in second, and he is looking to run down Kyle Larson. Now, Christopher Bell hasn't won on an asphalt oval all season. His only win was at Dirt Bristol earlier this year. And all of a sudden, here we are. And Christopher Bell's got a chance to try to run down Kyle Larson and get just his second win of the year, but it would lock him into the championship 4 in a couple of weeks at Phoenix. Truex has made his way to 11th place since the restart. He was in 14th moments ago. So if you're wondering where Truex is at, he is in 11th place right now and is slowly closing in on Joey Logano for 10th. Second and a half off the lead for Christopher Bell. Can he run down Kyle Larson? And when he gets there, can he make the pass on him? 19 laps to go at the line as you're about to see these two dirt racing drivers trying to battle it out on a slick, hot afternoon at Las Vegas. And a spot in the championship 4 is on the line between both of them. Next closest playoff driver in the running order behind Larson and Bell would be Byron in 5th. Kyle Busch still 5 seconds off the race lead, so he got to 4th, but he isn't really closing enough on a lap-by-lap basis to have any sort of contention for the race win. And Keselowski's starting to lose Bell and Larson a little bit now that Brad got stuck behind the 20. He's having troubles trying to keep up. Chastain and Byron battling for 5th as Ross Chastain catches the 24 to the outside. Pinched him off a little bit on the entry to turn 1, but still zips by and clears Byron off turn 2. Truex has now made his way back into the top 10 as he passes Joey Logano through 1 and 2. So now Truex up to 10th. Logano still fading over the course of the run here. Truex still trying to salvage a good finish. As we run right now, Kyle Larson leading the race would be above the cutoff line, obviously, and would be in the championship 4 if he wins. As for the same goes for any other playoff driver, then it is super tight after that. William Byron plus 10 points right now above the cutoff line. Denny Hamlin only plus 3. Martin Truex Jr. is the last driver above the cutoff line. That pass on Logano now puts him above Bell by 1 point. Bell's in second place right now, minus 1. Second in the race, 5th in the standings. Minus 15 points for Tyler Reddick. Minus 17 points for Ryan Blaney. And Chris Buescher minus 23 points still in a legitimate shot for him as well. If Christopher Bell, though, catches Kyle Larson, that would knock Truex below the cutoff line going into the second race of the round. And obviously it would lock Bell into the playoffs, which he probably needs to win more than Larson. Larson won the first 2 stages of the race today. You still don't know what will happen in the next 2 races, so you'd like to get the win to just advance you. But if he doesn't, I would say Bell probably needs this a little bit more than Kyle Larson. $14 to go at the line this time by. Got a lap car just now getting into lap traffic, really, for Kyle Larson during this green flag run of a little bit more than 30 laps. He's got B.J. McLeod first, followed by the 15 car of Brendan Poole. Larson to the inside will get by McLeod, a 1.3 second lead over Bell. Larson needs to make quick work of the lap cars. He's all clear of McLeod off turn 2, clean pass. Saw a couple other lap cars running side by side. This is nowhere near the heavy lap traffic he had to deal with all the way back in stage 1 after those green flag pit stops. And even then, he was still able to maintain the lead there. Clears Poole off turn 4, 13 to go for Kyle Larson, but it's now just a 1.1 second lead. So Bell has closed the gap. 2 lap cars between the top 2. Bell working closer to McLeod that time, got caught in the dirty air behind the lap cars and lost another 10th through turns 1 and 2. Larson running the bottom of the racetrack, not running that typical Larson line up towards the top. Meanwhile, further back in the top 10, Ryan Blaney trying to pick up another point on the 24 of Byron. As Blaney looks to battle for 6th, Chastain still not that far in front of him as well, so top 5 not out of the reach for the 12 team. Larson 1.3 seconds, now 1.4 ahead of Bell. So Larson definitely getting through the lap traffic at a pretty good rate so far. Blaney all the way up to the outside. Very close to the wall on his entry to the corner, then kind of cut it a little bit off the wall getting in. Larson catching lap traffic going 3 wide to get by the 51. And I couldn't tell who that other car was. Like the other one might have been Brendan Poole. Must have been Chase Briscoe who we caught then earlier in the run. Now Poole goes a lap down. Briscoe is still on the track 4 laps down. I thought his day was done. It is not. He's still on the track, but well off the lead lap and off the lead pace. Still meeting minimum speed following the DVP clock, though. Continues on. Larson having to go 3 wide to pass those lap cars cost him a lot of time. Bell's within a second of the race lead now. 0.8 of a second is the difference. 10 laps to go at Las Vegas. We're setting up if Bell can catch Larson. Again, a race and a spot in the championship 4 is on the line between these two. One will win, get to focus all on Phoenix. The other one will have to still try to fight over the next 2 weeks to have a shot at the championship. One of Larson's best tracks at Homestead coming up next week, so if he doesn't get the job done here, he might have another good shot to win a week from now. Bell showed pretty good long-run speed earlier in this final stage when he was out in front, but now he's the driver on the attack. He's a second behind Larson. Larson about a 10th quicker than Bell that last lap. 8 to go. Truex now battling Denny Hamlin for 9th on the racetrack. And he is going to get there. Truex all clear on his teammate Hamlin. Another point for Truex. Hamlin loses a point based off of their running order right now. So Truex moves up a spot in the standings to 3rd, still +2, and Hamlin +2 over Bell. So basically, if Bell wins, and that means Hamlin and Truex would be tied for that final spot. And the tiebreaker is the best finish in the round. This is the first race of the round, so obviously Truex ahead of Hamlin after just making that pass for position. Blaney with an outstanding run on the backstretch. Should get by the lap car BJ McLeod pretty easily through 3 and 4 as he closes his gap up on the 24 of Byron. He's closing that gap a little bit ago for 6, but still has not made the pass yet. 2 to 3 car lengths behind the 24 into turn 1 this time. Blaney to that middle to upper groove. Byron on the bottom. Slides up. Blaney to the back bumper of the 24. Carrying momentum into turn 3. Blaney looking low. Byron gonna try to squeeze him into that middle groove. Off of turn 4. Blaney is clear and up to 6th place. So Byron gonna lose another point. Blaney gets one late. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues on. 5 laps left, making about 4.5 laps to go now. So Larson's just getting into turn 3. He is down on the bottom groove. Now, Bell is all the way up near the wall, so he's going to carry more momentum down the straightaways. Surprised that Larson hasn't moved up to that middle to upper groove. I would imagine when Bell gets close, he's probably going to try it. If Bell gets close enough, obviously, to try to make that dive bomb going into the said corner, if he can get to within a couple car lengths, I'm sure he'll try it. Again, on the outside lane is Bell through 1 and 2. Larson down on the bottom. Not used to seeing that out of Kyle Larson. His car must not want to drive well up there. We know he's got a looser race car since making contact with the wall earlier in the race. Saw Chastain having troubles trying to run the top a little earlier, so might not be as much grip up there. And why we've seen a lack of cars being able to run that top lane efficiently throughout the course of the race. 2.5 laps left for Kyle Larson at the start-finish line. This time by will be down to 2 to go. Bell is within about 3 or 4 car lengths of Kyle Larson, as close to the wall as he can get through 3 and 4. And now he's close enough to get in the draft of Larson in the middle of the tri-oval. 2 laps left. 0.4 of a second is the difference at the line between Larson and Bell. Larson moves up. to the middle, but he doesn't move all the way up to the wall like Christopher Bell did. Doesn't want to give up as much straightaway speed, but Bell's still going to be a little bit quicker down the back. Headed to turns 3 and 4. Larson all the way to the bottom. Bell all the way to the top. 1 lap to go, this time by, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Kyle Larson has about a 3-car length gap over Christopher Bell at the line. Can Bell close in? Couple of lap cars side by side might put a little bit of dirty air on the 5 of Larson getting into turns 1 and 2. He's in the middle groove. Bell in the cleanest air up on the outside. Off of turn 2. Bell's got to run. Lap cars moving out of the way. Christopher Bell's within 2 car lengths. He's within a car length and a half into turns 3 and 4. He goes to the outside. Kyle Larson's on that middle groove. Larson moving up. He got tight. Here comes Christopher Bell off turn 4. As they race for the line, Larson's going to block. Bell to the inside, and Larson wins by about a half a car length. Kyle Larson has won at Vegas. He has locked himself into the championship 4 as he wins by 8/100ths of a second over Christopher Bell. A little close for comfort out of the 5 team there, but they hang on barely to win. Larson will be the first of 4 to race for a championship at Phoenix. They try to go for his 2nd career title. It'll be his 2nd all-time appearance in the championship 4. The only other time he was there is when he won the title in 2021 at his first year with Hendrick Motorsports. Eliminated in the round of 12 a season ago after being the defending champion, but trying to get back to another title as he picks up yet another win this year. We'll get to hear from Kyle Larson and some of the other top finishers in today's race. We'll go through the full field running order results once you hear from your race winner, Kyle Larson. Again, margin of victory, 82 thousandths of a second and or 800ths of a second was the difference. Bell had a good run there on turn 4. Larson slid up maybe a little early, trying to block, and Larson did not have the momentum that he would have liked there on the front stretch. But Bell ran out of straightaway by the time he got to the inside of Larson. And as a result, your race winner is Kyle Larson. Kyle did lead the most laps today, 133 laps led half the race. Next closest in the laps led category was the guy who finished just to the inside of him. Christopher Bell led 62 laps. 38 laps led for Brad Keselowski. Denny Hamlin led 23. Martin Truex Jr. led 9 laps. Byron led 1 lap on a restart, and then also the 51 of J.J. Gilley led during caution earlier, so we only had 7 different drivers lead at least 1 lap in the race today. It looks like we ended up having 23 lead changes. So 7 different leaders, 23 lead changes. Hopefully I didn't miscount that. 7 cautions in the race total. 2 in the final stage. Total time on today's race, 2 hours 57 seconds. 2 hours 57 minutes and 10 seconds. Larson's climbed out of his race car. Here he is, your race winner.
Day for the 5-team, maximum points, and now the berth into the championship 4. But a heck of a battle for these Vegas fans with Christopher Bell at the end of the race. Did the 20 kind of surprise you there? Did you know he was coming that quickly, Kyle?
I could see him coming by mirror for sure, and was hoping those lappers were going to give me the bottom, and the 38 peeled off to the bottom, and I knew I couldn't follow him, and I just didn't want to go all the way to the top and leave the middle open, but thankfully Christopher as always races extremely clean, and it could have got crazier than it did, coming to the start finish line. So thank you to him for racing with respect there. What a job done by my team too. Just a great race car. I almost gave it away there. I wanted to get sideways, get in the wall, and had to fight back from there with our balance. They got it much closer there to lead. I was happy to pull away as much as we did, and was hoping that was going to be enough, to maintain, which it was, but I thought, they weren't going to be able to get as close as they did there at the end, so nerve-wracking, but
Thanks to Chevrolet, HinderCars.com, Junior One Bar, Valvoline, everybody involved in this deal. This is really cool to get to go race for another championship in a few weeks, and glad we don't have to stress for these next two races.
The incredible save. The kids are here to celebrate with Dad, Kyle Larson. They're in the championship for what a day for Hendrick Motorsports and the 5 team.
Great playoffs for Hendrick Motorsports. They won the opening race of both rounds. Larson at Darlington, Byron at Texas, and now he wins here in Vegas to secure the spot in the championship 4. Kyle Larson is on to another possible title.
So again, second career appearance for Kyle Larson in the championship 4. Trying to get the leaderboard back up here. Having some issues with that. Logged down to the screen to look at the chat there for a quick second as soon as the race ended, and how slow this laptop is, I'm not able to get the leaderboard back up. We do have to go through, of course, the finish. See if I can get the raw feed back up. Went through all the race statistics except for the actual running order. Again, 0.08 of a second was the margin of victory for Kyle Larson over Christopher Bell there down the stretch. Larson wins his 4th race of the season, sweeping the stages today as well, winning stage 1, 2, and 3. And again, he is going to be locked into the championship 4 now come season end. Well, some reason it has put us back to 29 laps to go on the raw feed, which is not correct. While we're waiting on that to update, the point standings coming into next week's race or going into next week's race at Homestead would look like this. So Kyle Larson with the win advances again to the championship 4. William Byron 9 points to the good. Above that cutoff line, Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin both 2 points ahead. Christopher Bell, who came up second place today at -2 points. That would be good for a tiebreaker if he does need it. Again, tiebreaker is the best finish in the round. So Bell -2 points to Hamlin and Truex. Tyler Reddick -16 points right now, 6th in the standings. Right behind him by 1 point is Ryan Blaney as he's -17 points to the cutoff line in 7th. Chris Buescher -23 points. Nobody, though, in a must-win situation as they all kept their cars clean throughout the race today. The worst finishing playoff driver was, I believe, Chris Buescher in either 11th or 12th. To get the leaderboard back up here. I'm starting to hate this laptop. It's just so slow. I can't get this back up here. There's the starting lineup. So here is the finishing order. I'm going to have to just kind of scroll and you'll have to follow along with me. So Kyle Larson gets the race win. Christopher Bell finishes second. Kyle Busch ends up in third place there, late getting by Keselowski in the closing lap. So Brad Keselowski finishes fourth. Ross Chastain fifth. Ryan Blaney sixth. William Byron seventh. Tyler Reddick eighth. Martin Truex Jr. ninth. Denny Hamlin ends up 10th. Chris Buescher in 11th. Joey Logano 12th. Bubba Wallace 13th. Eric Almirola 14th. 15th place for Daniel Suarez. Kevin Harvick at 16th. Michael McDowell 17th. Austin Dillon 18th. Corey LaJoie 19th. Harrison Burton in 20th. AJ Allmendinger 21st. Justin Haley 22nd. Austin Cindric 23rd. Ty Dillon 24th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th. Ryan Preece 26th. Ty Gillen 27th. Eric Jones 28th. J.J. Yeley 29th. Brendan Poole in 30th. B.J. McLeod 31st. Chase Elliott 32nd. Chase Briscoe 33rd. Ty Gibbs 34th. Alex Bowman 35th. And Carson Hocevar rounds out the 36-car field today. So, yeah, all the playoff drivers finished in the top 11 of the 8 of them. The only non-playoff drivers to get top 10s all got top 5s of Busch, Keselowski, and Chastain finishing 3rd through 5th. Half a car length away for Christopher Bell from coming up on a championship 4 spot. It was definitely a close one, to say the least. Had to pause the race for a little bit to read the point standings and the leaderboard off to you. Here is Kim Kuhn standing with second place finisher Christopher Bell.
You talked about how respectful you raced him, but it's a spot for the championship four. Do you rethink anything you did there in the last moments?
I mean, I don't know what else I could have done. So, very, I don't know. I feel like that was my moment. That was my moment to make the Final Four, and didn't quite capture it. So, well, I don't know, like coming to the checker there, I knew that he was going to be blocking, so I'm like, I'm going to try and go high, and he went high. I don't even know if I had a run to get by him there coming to the line, so just wasn't enough, but, you know, a great day for sure to get those stage points and get a second place finish out of it, so I think I saw we're -2, so we're not out of it by any means, but it would have been nice to lock in.
The round of 8 continues next week.
Wild finish down the stretch once again there between Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. Looks like the rest of the post-race coverage is going to be over on Peacock. And that might be it for the driver interviews, at least for the NBC coverage of the race today. So with that being said, that is going to end today's live commentary stream of the South Point 400 at Las Vegas. Appreciate everybody tuning in throughout the course of the live stream. We did get our goal of 100 likes on the stream as we're at 113. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet, and also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Sorry again for the late notice of the live commentary stream. It wasn't originally the plan. I was supposed to be in Vegas for the race today. Unfortunately, I was not able to go with a cancellation of flight late last night. Came back, got the notes ready there about an hour before the pre-race, and here we are. Got the stream in, though. Got the full race coverage in, and we didn't have any major connection issues during the race and during the stream, so that's good. What airlines I was supposed to fly? It was supposed to be Frontier on the way there and then Spirit on the way back. So, yeah, Frontier Airlines. They can kiss my rear. That needless to say, though, we still got the stream in, so we got to enjoy the race together here today. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe again for more daily NASCAR content. We'll be back for more live commentary coverage next weekend. I'm not planning on going to any more races this year, so I will be here at my apartment to give you guys live commentary for the final few weeks of the season. Next weekend, Homestead for the NASCAR Truck Xfinity and Cup Series. Take a look at that schedule for next weekend, and we'll read off the start times for next weekend's streams. I think the Truck and Xfinity Series are running a double header on Saturday, I believe. So we might be streaming twice Saturday. Let's take a look. Might just be easy. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. I mean, this laptop's so freaking slow. Probably get it up on my phone quicker. Oh, we still got to go through the Fantasy League yet, too. I almost forgot. Yeah, hang on. We're not done with this stream yet. Yeah, we got to go through the fantasy results. I'll go through the fantasy results, and then I'll go through the schedule so I have time to look that up on my phone for next weekend's start times. And it does look like the Truck Series is running both days. Or, sorry, both days. The Truck and the Xfinity Series both running on Saturday next week. Dale Jr. is supposed to be back for the Xfinity Series race next weekend, so running 2 Xfinity races this year instead of just 1, and he's running on 1.5 miles, which he has not done since retiring from full-time Cup competition, so it'll be interesting to see how he does there. You can go to the quick link section on NASCAR.com or on a Fantasy Live tab on the NASCAR mobile app. If you're not already joined into the Fantasy League, you'll want to do so. You got a chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing the following season if you win our league championship for the playoffs and or the regular season. This week's winner got his tickets for Las Vegas this weekend, so that's the main reason why I was going to end up going out there. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out for me this weekend, but he was able to get there safely and enjoy the race today. As far as the race or fantasy results, I guess, for myself this weekend, Tyler Reddick is he was on my team, ended up having a top 10. I mean, I pretty much had all playoff drivers up there at the front. I did have Bubba Wallace on the team. I left him in the garage because he wasn't in the top 10 like a lot of these other cars were. Chris Buescher, I did have on my team, though, and he ended up finishing 11th, so He was the only driver not to have a top 10 today. It didn't get any stage points either. Had Larson, who obviously won, Bell, who finished second, Byron, who ended up in seventh in the late going there. I think Reddick would have finished eighth. Yeah, Reddick finished eighth. Bonus points, not great. Went 2 for 4, which is about average for me. I'm usually 2 for 4, 3 for 4 a lot. I went 4 for 4 last week for like one of the only times this season. But this week, I had Larson beating Hamlin. Larson won the race. Had Byron beating Truex. And Byron finished 7th. Truex finished 9th. I did pick William Byron to win. Toss up between me picking Larson or Byron. The odds the odds favorite was Larson to win. I don't trust the odds when it comes to like NASCAR races, at least with the sports books. I don't think they know what they're doing a lot, but this weekend they did. Kyle Larson did end up getting the win. And the only reason I went with Byron over Larson is just because Larson's led a lot more laps on intermediate tracks this year, but Byron has more wins to show for. This weekend, though, practice qualifying, those two are at the top of the charts in both. But Larson was a little bit ahead of Byron in those statistical categories for lap averages, so the odds would have probably said to go with Larson for that reason, and I didn't go with it. So Larson ends up though getting the win. Chris Buescher, I had beating Christopher Bell. Bell finished second, Buescher 11th. And it's the first not top 10 finish on an intermediate track for Buescher in a while as he was just outside looking in. Ryan Blaney beat Tyler Reddick. I had Reddick beating Blaney. Blaney beat him by 2 spots, 6th place finish to an 8th place finish for Reddick. Again, the league name is KRC League, so if you go into the Fantasy Live tab and you sign up with your email, it is free to join. You do have to be a subscriber of the channel as well when being entered into the league. This weekend, I ended up finishing in fifth tied for fourth, actually, with I can't talk right now. Tied for fourth with 232 points this weekend. Your winner, Inside Uranus, who coincidentally ended up winning the regular season championship last year, regular season and playoff championship, so he got those tickets. He ends up winning this week with 254 points for Vegas. EC23 with 250 points finishes in second. Dark Crypto 243 in third. Sauce Mafia and Austin Dillon fan with 239 points in fourth. And then Monster Jam X10 and I both qualified tying for fifth. So I thought we tied for fourth there. I guess we did tie for fifth place at 232 points. And then Inside Uranus, who won the league this weekend. Let's see who he had on his team versus me. He also had Bell, Larson, Reddick, Byron. The only difference is he had Denny Hamlin, and I had Chris Buescher. Hamlin scored 38 points to Buescher's 26. So he had 12 extra points there, and I think he predicted probably 3 of the 4 for the bonus points. I only had 2. If I do my math correctly, yeah, that was the case. He got 3 of the 4. He had Byron beating Truex, Larson beating Bell, just as I did, but he also had, Larson beating Hamlin, as I also had, but he had Bell over Buescher, which I did not have, and he lost on the Reddick and Blaney pick. So the league standings coming into the week for the playoffs would have looked like this. I know I was on the top with 1197, and he was in second. 1153. He closes the gap. He ends up finishing with, what was that? 22 more points ahead of me. So he's going to close that gap down to 22. So he cut it in half. He was 44 back. He cuts his deficit in half. Now he's only 22 back. We do have 44 members in the league. We can have up to 100. So definitely some spots to join. You obviously can't win the championship this year with just 3 races left. But you can get used to seeing how the Fantasy League works, and you'll automatically be in the league next year. It'll roll over with all the same members in it. So you will have a chance to join. So appreciate it, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Man, I forgot to go over the schedule. I have been all over the place. I think not doing commentary for the race yesterday because I was gone is what the reason for me maybe not being on my best today, because I feel like I've been making a lot of speech errors over the course of the broadcast. So next weekend's live commentary stream, the Truck Series race at Homestead will begin at noon. That will be their elimination race for the round of 8. They only have 2 races left. So Truck Series next Saturday at noon. The race will be on FS1, but we will start our live commentary at noon. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday will be the Xfinity Series race. So we'll pretty much wrap the Truck Series up, I would probably say, by around 2-ish. 2:30, and then a half hour to an hour after that, the Xfinity race will be on. So we don't have a lot of downtime between races for next week. So noon for the Truck Series on Saturday, 3 p.m. for the Xfinity Series as well on Saturday for next week's live commentary. And then the Cup Series live commentary stream will begin at 2:30 Eastern Time on Sunday for Homestead. So that is your Homestead schedule for next weekend on the channel. As far as the rest of the week, we'll have NASCAR Thunder 2004 career modes, and that will begin tomorrow night. We will be starting season 5. I just came off my championship on Friday night. Got the first career title. Trying to go for back-to-back. And trying to go for back-to-back Daytona 500s in tomorrow night's stream. So that should be a fun one as well. Clyde McDaniel, Sharik B. See you in the chat. Ethan Chua as well. I didn't see some of you guys there, at least in the chat, that'll go into the race. Santiago Kid, thanks for tuning in also. But Villanor, thank you for watching. Rick Craver. And hopefully you enjoyed the finish of the race today. There's a lot of other people I didn't shout out. I appreciate each and every single one of you that showed up here this afternoon. 117 likes on the stream. Again, hit that like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow night. For those of you I don't see during the week, I will see you guys Saturday for our doubleheader of live commentary coverage. Final doubleheader of the season with the live commentary streams next Saturday afternoon. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next time.